alone. Cringe-Fluencers are all alone. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So, I'm going to be speaking to myself today. No, not all day, but for a little bit. And I'm going to squeeze down because I'm in the zone. You can see that light over there? Yeah, that's it's not picking up as green anymore. It's picking up as I don't know what. I'll just back up a little bit. So welcome to the Teal Swan episode. So Cam is currently she's traveling, and so she got behind a little bit. So she's in Scotland, I believe, right now. So she's going to be coming in like 30 minutes. So I figured, let's just start. Cam can catch up later. She's such a cringe-fluencer, right? I just finished watching, I don't know if you've seen the second episode of The Deep End on Hulu/Freeform, depending on where you watch your content. And it was interesting. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Obviously, The Deep End is the new documentary on Hulu that talks about Teal Swan as a spiritual guru and has like a documentary crew following her for a while. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk a lot about Teal in general, just her as a person, her as a spiritual leader, as a catalyst for change. That's what I put in the description. But in reality, she's a catalyst for some other things, some triggering words that we'll talk about as we talk today. So I'm not going to have Camellia on the screen like this the whole time. But she's in our minds and hearts forever. So if you hear like a ringing noise at some point, it's probably her calling in. So welcome. I see your comments. Thank you so much for joining. Okay. So I'm assuming since you're here, you probably know who Teal Swan is a little bit. I would imagine. I'm hoping. Because there's so many different things about her. She's an author. She's a motivational speaker, sort of, but more so spiritual teacher is kind of her bend. She is like, Gabby Bernstein considers herself a spiritual speaker or a spiritual teacher. Teal Swan takes that up like 17 levels. She is much more of a spiritual teacher cult style. And there's a lot of argument whether Teal is an actual cult leader. And she's spoken about this fact many times as well, and almost has not made a mockery of cults, but she's said like, oh, I'm not a cult leader because I'm self-aware. I know I could be a cult leader, but I'm not. It's like, yeah, well, no one begins to run a cult and then says like, I'm going to run a cult today. No, usually it starts out like people admire you from some reason, or you have some sort of good on-camera presence or on-stage presence or in small group presence, and then all of a sudden people are following you without you even asking necessarily, and then you start to see the power and feel it, and then you grow and grow and grow, and then all of a sudden people are living with you in Costa Rica on your compound, and they're not getting paid, and then they're living in bunk beds, and everyone's catering their diet to you, and then no one can tell you wrong. I mean, that's... Not speaking from experience, honestly. I've never been in a cult. I've been what do you call it? Like, I've never been in a cult, obviously. I've never done anything that extreme, but I definitely was at one point in my life, like, if I would have continued to go down the road of where I was in the yoga world and getting involved in like life coach stuff and starting to go to this chiropractor that did like spiritual chiropractor stuff, I don't know what would have happened. And thankfully I got out of it, that entire world completely. But I wonder sometimes if like, it's not even as someone who I consider myself like fairly logical now, especially, I was even down that path. And that's why I think it's important to look at these things from this could happen to me perspective. So anyways, that's my personal stories, anecdotes about cult life. So basically, people no, okay. I'm trying to think where to start. If you don't know anything about Teal, you probably would just think, okay, she's someone who, has some sort of possibly psychotherapy training. No, she doesn't. Maybe she's religious in some way. Yes. So she was, from my understanding, grew up Mormon. And we can read, let's read it from her. Let's read her take, and then we'll read or listen to someone who's more objective than she is. But according to Teal Swan's website, tealswan.com, and Teal Swan's not her real name, by the way. And for the purposes of this show today, my name is going to be Pink Raven, and we can name Cam in the future. So I see a comment coming in. Yes, this is accurate. Oh, wait, okay. Did you hear that, everybody? Maybe not, but hello, you're live on TV.
Hi, everyone. My apologies. This is really unprofessional.
No,
How
you're
are
good.
you guys doing?
I just said that you were in the time zone, so you'll be coming in shortly. So you're even here early.
Yeah, sorry about that. I am in Scotland, and I was just out with a friend for a coffee, but I didn't realize that this would be 2 hours earlier. I should have realized that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're
I
good.
guess like changing time zones has been getting me confused.
I can't even imagine. So I went away to Europe one time when I was in my early 20s, and I had no idea what time it was ever because we bounced around a little bit, and I was like, this wouldn't work for me in a long-term setting. So all is forgiven. You are welcomed back with open arms.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So you want me to unfollow you?
Yes, please listen to Dave Hollis and
unfollow me.
Okay. You're no longer welcome. And you're about to.
I'm sorry that you don't have a job.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, guys.
Okay. So basically, I was just responding to a comment that that Teal Swan is a spiritual guru who has, not famously, because I don't think she's even famous, even though she's got like over 1 million, not subs, but she's got 1 million followers on Instagram, I think, combined.
1.6, I think. 1.6 million.
Okay. On Instagram?
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Okay. So she's got a big following, but she's not like celebrity status. So I wouldn't say she's famous for, but she is known to have said, there's going to, all the way. Also, trigger warning for this entire episode. There's going to be a lot of talk of like unaliving.
Yes.
And that sort of thing, because we can't really talk about Teal without talking about that. So if that's a topic that is not, good right now, then don't watch this, because we can't avoid it. I tried to think like, can we just focus on other things? You really can't.
You really can't. Yeah. So you guys put yourself first. If you feel like this is too sensitive, maybe don't watch this one. Sit this one out.
Yes, agreed. But to answer this question, yeah. So basically, she has said in the past that she targets people who are feeling on edge or feeling like they might be considering, have some sort of ideation of unaliving themselves, and she puts that into her content specifically to target those types of people. And then sort of her message goes on through time of, well, if you're not committing to living, you can just end it, and it's a reset. And that's a good option for some people. And that's been super controversial for obvious reasons. And we'll get more into that. So
we'll get into that. Yeah, because there's some actual stuff that happened that is sort of linked to, obviously not, it's hard to like prove that this is because of her, but some things have been linked to her. So we'll talk about it later as we get into it.
Yeah, definitely. So before that, two things before, I was just going to read her own version of who she is on her about page. So we can all some people don't know who she is, and some people are kind of more familiar with what guru we're dealing with here. So, okay, about Teal Swan. Teal Swan, she's an international speaker and best-selling author, is a survivor of severe childhood abuse. Now, this is another topic that we're going to talk about probably in some detail, because it's a big part of her story, her backstory, and also why I find her to be not credible in what she's saying, because there's a bunch of links between who her spiritual teacher was as a young adult, that person's beliefs, and like her backstory. So all of this is like a tangled web. What a tangled web we weave on today's episode. So okay, that's just another trigger warning for childhood abuse. Today, having integrated her own harrowing life experience, she inspires millions of people around the world towards truth, authenticity, freedom, and joy. Okay? Yeah, that's a good idea. Sorry about that, Kathleen. We should have been more, that's my bad, more clear about that, but definitely from this point forward. I'll be there in the next time, I promise. Okay. Teal Swan's mission is the transformation of human suffering to an empowered and authentic life. She is the creator of the popular Ask Teal, not to be confused with Ask Gabby. Gabby Bernstein.
They're not even, similar at all.
I was like, Gabby Bernstein calls herself a spiritual teacher, but this is nothing in comparison to Teal Swan's spiritual teachings. Okay, she's the author of 6 internationally published books and the artist of hundreds of frequency paintings. Are you familiar with frequency paintings?
Oh man, that sounds very much like vibrations and frequency. I don't know, blood pumping. I'm not sure.
I'll bring them up in a second, but basically it's like the mandala like coloring pages. She makes her own version of that, and you can buy it and it'll heal you.
Okay.
By looking at it. Okay.
Sure.
That's what that is.
Wow, that makes like mental health so easily fixed.
So
I can't believe it.
We're all just stupid. Like therapy, throw it out the window. Just put this picture up instead. Healed. Instantly.
I want to see that. Maybe I get healed from all my depression and anxiety. You think that would work?
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
Like no doubts at all. Okay. In conjunction with her vision of creating positive world change, Teal Swan founded Headway Foundation, a nonprofit company that enables ideas, goals, and ventures that are aimed at positive world change. That is quite the vague
but
description.
very full, all-encompassing. Just make sure nobody feels left out.
Yes. Yeah. So at whatever point she decides she wants to do something and it supports ideas and goals, do it. There's no limits whatsoever. Okay. Oh, we have the exact time she was born. Okay. Wonderful. Teal Swan was born in Santa Fe, New Mexico on June 16th. She's a Gemini because I'm on June 15th.
Oh.
That's how I know that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. We're twin flames, apparently. 1984 at 7:42 a.m. Very important that we know the exact moment that Teal arrived on this earth.
Quick, can somebody in the chat tell us what's her moon sign? what's her rising star? Like, we need to know everything.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's why she put it there, so that you can figure it out, because there's something really impressive in that.
Something, yeah. And we can also pull her human design chart as well, which is a whole other thing that people use to plan their life around. Okay, now this is where I start to go. Everything so far is like, okay, whatever, who cares? And then this part, I'm like, yeah, now I'm out. All right, this is where it starts to go downhill for me. She was born with a range of extrasensory abilities. Okay. It was because of these abilities that she ended up being targeted to become a victim of abuse. In her own words, quote, "Without the abuse and suffering I experienced, I would be someone who could give you a lot of esoteric information about the universe at large, but who would have no real grasp on the reality of human suffering or how to heal it. I would have had only half of the picture of human existence. The gift of my own suffering is that now I have the full picture, and that has drastically changed both what I teach and the way that I teach."
Oh, I don't know. This is very like, oh, I've been through it, so I can help you. But I feel like this message always just like bothers me because in general, like just the fact that you've been through something doesn't mean that you know how to help someone else through that. It just means that you managed to get out of it. But not everyone has the same personality, and not everyone can. It's not like a mathematical formula that you can just apply and then that's it. You're fixed.
Well, and she's had in her story of her backstory, it's like the most extreme possible abuse story I've ever heard of personally. And that's why I find it to be sus that it's true. Maybe there's some elements of truth, but the actual story, it's like how could this, how are you not involved in some sort of large scale case, criminal investigation? Like there's just, oh yeah, all this stuff happened and then I left. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, there's a lot that she claims. And the extrasensory abilities, I have a personal gripe about that with people, even to the point of, like, I used to be more open to like, well, you know, people could have intuition and they could have, and now I'm like, no, like we as human beings, I believe we have a certain level of, you know, ability and we can work and practice and do things. But if you start to say, I talk to dead people, I'm out. If you say, I can tell the future, I'm out. If you say, oh, I can look into you and decide what's wrong with you medically, I'm out. That's not human ability. That's just guessing and like being like, I'm special.
That's quackery.
So, yeah, exactly. And so she definitely does that. She has a lot of that medical stuff. Like I can see into your bowels and know what you ate for breakfast. Like she literally says that about people.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually what's in there.
Who needs a psychic when you have Teal Swan?
Oh yeah. What's your name? I've named myself Pink Raven. What is your name today?
Pink Raven. Oh, wait. Were we getting names?
Yeah. Teal Swan, Pink Raven.
Oh, Teal Swan is not her actual name. I never realized this.
I think her name's Mary. I think. I gotta look it up. I forget.
Oh, she could have twisted Mary because Mary is like a religious name. She could have used that.
I know. I've been watching a lot of Seventh Heaven clips. I'm not even lying. So I think maybe Mary is one of the characters of the show. So I'm like, wait, let me check her real. It's not Teal though. It's not Teal Swan. That's a changed name.
Interesting. I really thought that was her name. Okay. So my name would be Pink Barbecue.
Barbecue, okay. You're just going off. You're like, I'm not going to stick to animals. We're just going off into objects. Okay, I like it.
Oh, do I need to? Can I go for pink? Pink what? Pink? I don't know. What's
Penguin?
it? What's pink rhino or something?
Pink rhino. Okay, I like that. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is, what was mine? Something Raven. Was it pink also?
Oh, was it also pink? Yeah, Pink Raven probably.
Okay.
And I probably copied you. Okay, so maybe I should go for like a blue rhino or something.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is Pink Raven and
Blue rhino.
we're here to heal you. By watching this vibrational YouTube video, you will be healed from all of your pain and suffering and any embarrassing moments you've had in middle school. Those are now healed from watching this.
If you hear this podcast and it sounds good, that means you're getting healed from depression.
That's all the proof you need.
Yeah.
And Marcia says, yes, Mary Teal Bosworth. Okay, I was right.
Mary doesn't sound as, a cult leader as Teal Swan.
There's already enough Marys in the religious space. I guess she's like, I need to stand out.
Yeah.
I need to make up a name. Okay, all right. So now she's got the full picture of human suffering, very much like Siddhartha and Buddha, and the Buddha who turns into the Buddha later on in his teachings or in their teachings. She also has taken the trip outside of the palace gates now. That's her spiritual awakening or whatever. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, Teal Swan is not recommended for those who simply want to feel good. She is recommended for those who want the truth, even if the truth hurts. The reality is impartial. It isn't personal. It simply shows you what is so. She will reflect things about humanity, the world, and the universe that humanity perceives to be positive. But she will also reflect things about humanity, the world, and the universe that humanity does not want to accept, own, or integrate.
Interesting.
So she's not just toxic positivity, she's also toxic generally. That's what it sounds like
Yeah.
to me.
I wonder why she didn't apply this to her own thoughts and feelings about the documentary that came out, because she appeared to not it appeared that the documentary wasn't just reality is so. It was biased, and she didn't like the fact that they quote unquote took things out of context, which in my opinion they they put things right in the right
They put
context.
it in
So
context, yeah.
yeah, but
We should watch that
somehow
video because it's on their website. It's like on the homepage, so we can watch it
yeah,
to
yeah.
see. And it's funny because she says in that video, I didn't get paid for this video, and I didn't have any control of it. It's like, okay, so why'd you agree to do it?
But like, why is not having control over something always the ultimate? Like, so what if you don't have control of it? Does that mean that somebody can't do a good job, or does it mean that you cannot control the narrative, aka you cannot make yourself look good?
Yeah. I think that's the correct one. And she also did a podcast called The Gateway. I think The Gateway, yeah. And it was really, really good. And also, like, why would you agree if you didn't like that either? Because she didn't have control over that. Then why would you agree to do a documentary? I think the answer is because she knows she's still going to attract a fraction of people who are going to watch her, even if it's a negatively portrayed documentary to the most people. She knows that there's still people out there that'll watch that and go, wow, she's hot or she's smart, and I'm going to go, join her. And they might not have come across her before.
Or people who are just so broken or so damaged that they're willing to try anything. So they might even hear the documentary, it might still be negative, but they might be like, oh, this is probably my only chance because I don't have money to go through, or like whatever, I'm at the end of my patience or something, I don't have time to go for therapy right now, so I might as well just look at
Try
that picture
this.
for money.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy this drawing that she's made for me. Yeah, and I think that's part of a bigger conversation is like that, is kind of underlying and weaved into all of these stories that we've been telling on this channel and on our individual channels. It's like access to mental health care and professional help is not always available and easy to get. You have to wait a long time sometimes to get a professional or someone with a license to talk to you about, what's going on. So during this period of time, and it's also expensive in some places, especially in the United States, then they're pushed to go on to these other alternatives, and then you end up in a Teal Swan cult, So it's not
Yeah.
all people's fault.
No, it's not people's fault, and that's the thing. There needs to be, it's a system or systemic conversation that needs to be had, because these things can be, like in other countries, you get healthcare for free just for living in that country, like it is in the UK here. It's just, it comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that also, well, that it does include mental health, but not enough. Like it
Yeah.
only includes something like 20 sessions or 10 sessions or something. Like, I don't know the details of this, but
Sure.
I know there's some
Limits.
support but very little. So why isn't mental health like dealt with the same way that physical health is dealt with? That's a systemic conversation to have, and I feel like this is, people like Teal Swan are damaging to that message, because like it makes it seem so trivial, like, oh, it's so easy to heal yourself, don't you worry. Well, when
All of
we actually
self-help,
should,
I think.
Yeah, exactly. This entire self-help industry is like that. When it actually should be like, no, actually, it's not easy. And let's look at what changes can be done in the law to, and what should we fight for in order for these changes to be implemented in the law, and so that we get it from the government that we already pay our taxes to.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is what happens when we don't take care of these issues at a larger scale and collectively. You know, it's like everyone's, at least in the United States too. I can't speak for other countries, but you know, do it yourself, like bootstrap yourself, figure out your issues yourself. And it's like, this is why people go off in all directions. And then we end up with these, you know, huge egoed, spiritual gurus or, you know, self-help people who are making millions by just saying like, drink water and take a walk and that'll heal you like it healed me. And it's like, oh God. And you're right. It definitely like trivializes the entire thing, like how nuanced all of psychiatry and psychology of the human brain is. So I just
And
wanted to
it's
say
still
that.
kind of a new thing because this started, I think it got into the mainstream with, as much as Freud has its own problems, but he was the one that got this conversation is like a bit more popular. And um, that was only at the beginning of last century. So while traditional medicine and having doctors and like doing surgeries and stuff, that is like old, that is an old tale. Even before we did like surgeries or whatever in hospitals, there was still like healers and like people who were able to create these medicine, but you know, from plants and whatever. Like this is an old practice, but with psychology it only kind of got popular last century. So it's so young as a, we only just discovered it really. Like obviously
Sure.
there were people before talking about it, but nothing that went nothing that went viral, I guess, like it did with Freud. But you know, he's had his own problems, so I'm not trying to say that he's perfect, but he definitely like made it, he brought it into the mainstream, and then like philosophers took it from there and they started writing about it and they started talking about it. And then right now we're talking about it on the internet. Like we would have not been
Yeah.
able to do this without him.
No, I totally agree. I just think it needs, you know, we look at these gurus and people and go, oh my God, like who could ever follow them? It's like people who tried maybe in the beginning to get help or to figure stuff out and they came up against these obstacles and now here they are. So it's a little bit of like empathy for, you know, people who find themselves like finding these people very attractive and not just physically, but like what they're saying. So I've been thinking about that for a little bit, you know, just with a bunch of these people that we've been discussing. And I just thought it was a good time to maybe bring it up because it really does weave itself throughout all of these stories that it's
Yeah.
like, you know, this is people are, how they say like business shows up where there's holes or there's like openings in the market. Like this, the big issue with finding, you know, affordable, reliable mental health care in the world, there's a huge gaping hole and these people are filling in the gaps, unfortunately. And, you know, doing that, building their egos to astronomical amounts. Anyways, okay. So
And
now,
making bank.
yeah, I think she's got tons of money. She's trying to, when we'll talk about her money obsession in a little bit too. Okay, let's see. When a person decides that they're ready to see the truth and to see reality, Teal Swan is able to reflect the physical and non-physical reality of any given situation. By facing the truth and facing reality, they are then empowered to take mental, emotional, and physical steps towards improvement based on the new awareness that they gained. Okay, doesn't really mean much to me. To generalize, the field of spirituality and self-help can be divided into two camps. So she's even calling out self-help here. So I find that interesting. She's spirituality and self-help. The
Yeah.
first is the practice of spirituality and self-help in order to experience comfort and relief. The second is the second is the practice of spirituality and self-help in order to become aware and awaken. People who fit into the first camp want to feel good. They see the knowledge and practice available in the spiritual and self-help field as a way to feel good. People who fit into the second camp want to know what is true. They understand that knowing the truth will enable them to make changes that will lead to feeling better. But they want to know the truth even if what they come to find out makes them feel really uncomfortable. It's the classic Matrix blue pill or red pill scenario. Okay, we've seen that.
That she's not even hiding that she's like running a cult here.
She's like, I could run a cult. It's like, girly, you are running a cult.
She's like making it so obvious that this is sus. Like she's, but I think I've come to think about this. You know how when you get spam emails, they're written in a way that it looks like a spam. It doesn't even look normal. Like if you have a slight understanding of a spam, you would be like, yeah, this is a spam. It does not look right.
Yeah.
And they apparently do this on purpose so that they attract people who are either like old and have not used technology and they don't know, or who would fall for the tricks that they're about to like begin and put on their whatever. Because once you reply, if you reply to one of the spam emails, first of all you get like 100 more, but also they will immediately ask you for like credit card details and stuff, and they want people who are like
Naive.
what's the word, naive, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
gullible. And if you are slightly not gullible, and you would be able to realize like, oh, this email looks odd, so it might be a spam, they don't want you.
Yeah. Because
And
you're
this
not
is
going to
kind of
buy
what
the
it's,
thing next on the next page or whatever they're trying to sell you
yeah,
or steal from you or whatever.
yeah. And this is kind of what it sounds like with her. Like she's saying things like, oh, it's the blue versus red pill thing. Like she's making it sound like this on purpose to attract those people
Yeah.
who are gullible or who are like in a really bad situation. And it's
Totally.
uh, it's it's so insidious. Like, and sometimes like I still struggle to understand why these things are legal, but
I totally agree. And I think it falls into like, well, you have freedom to practice whatever thing you want to practice. And I, find that to be respectable. But then the other side of me goes, well, what constitutes a religion or what constitutes something that's fraud versus, all the promises they're making. And it gets very complicated very quickly. So then it's just like, I think trying to educate people that are maybe not even in these things yet, but could potentially, is probably the best route. Is just try to bring awareness and go, look, this sounds insane. And if it sounds insane, it most likely is insane.
yeah.
Because I don't know if, government regulation is necessarily going to be accepted. And then, that can be a slippery slope too. So it's hard to think about like, what's the solution here? I don't know.
Well, I think it does come with like government regulation, but it's just such a new thing with the internet and people being able to go viral and have their own platform. This is so new that I don't think that the laws have caught up with it. They don't know how to figure it out and control it, and but I think that's where it needs to start, because like we will not have like any individual person will not have the means to like look at these things on a grand scale. Like it will take teams
Sure.
of people and researchers to like look into these things and like put them on a blacklist or something, or like take down videos that are damaging, that whole thing, to control the entire internet.
Can't.
Imagine, like,
And I don't think
of
that's
course they,
I want to do that either, necessarily.
yeah, and of course it will take bots and stuff, but um it's complicated to really think about it, but
Yeah.
it's not on us. But like
No,
I
it's
think,
not.
I guess for us, it's like, at least for me, it's a matter of just making sure that there's an alternative opinion. um so when people look up people like Teal Swan, they can also come across our videos, and then you know it, at least they get a second opinion.
Totally agree. And that's kind of like where I've decided to like put my money and time into like, okay, I'll just do the best. Cause I can find myself getting like, I'm never going to help. Oh my God. Like something needs to be done. And it's like, you are doing something and you don't have to fix it singularly, but just your little piece can maybe make a little difference, which is all I really
It's a
want,
big
I
task.
suppose. Yeah.
It's a big task to do it alone. Like it's impossible.
Yeah.
So we can just do our little, bit.
Our little. That's what I always
Yeah.
say. We can do our little. Okay, so I'll read through this part quickly, and then I think we should watch, before we watch her reaction to the documentary, I think we should watch one of her most popular videos on her YouTube channel, because I think that kind of summarizes a lot of how she is, why she is, what she looks like, how she sounds, and the things that she talks about. And has been seen like 11 million times or something. So it's kind of the most, probably the most viewed Teal Swan video ever. So I think that'll be my vote. What do you think, Kim? Think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I
Okay.
want to see that so bad.
Okay. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Okay, I'll read this really quick. She's going to talk about taking the red pill. Okay. Your only access of power and choice is to be in reality and to see the truth. But all this being said, a person has to want to see the truth. You can't make someone want to see the truth. Okay, you just said that. And so one of the most important things you can do is to really decide honestly what your actual motive for practicing spirituality and self-help is. Not all truth is painful. The desire for pain relief and the desire for healing often takes you in drastically opposite directions. Teal Swan is a teacher who caters to the second camp, people who want to see the truth no matter how uncomfortable that may be, so as to awaken. To put it simply, Teal is the red pill. Oh, she is the red pill. She didn't take the red pill. Okay, she is the red pill. Sorry.
So, do we drink her, or do we
Swallow.
take it on an empty stomach?
We just swallow her whole. I don't know. That sounds weird. I'm not sure.
we're not about to swallow the bullshit. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll crush her up and snort her. That's what I think would be my choice.
We'll bring Johnny Depp to help us with that.
Yeah, I'll use my applicator. Teal Swans, thank you. Sure. This is Steven Drink Delivery Service. Thank you, Steven.
We appreciate that,
We
Stephen.
do.
Thank you for keeping her hydrated.
Hydrated. And whenever I have to read, I'm like, I need water. Okay. Teal Swan's deepest intention is to set people free. Her mission is to make people aware and conscious so that with that awareness, they can begin to heal and live deeply meaningful, integrated, and empowered lives. She travels the world teaching people the truth of the universe, helping people to see the truth of themselves, and teaching them how to transform their emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual pain. Oh, so just like a little
all of
job.
the pain.
Yeah, just like a small, low.
She's
key.
not even ambitious. Like,
No.
she's healing everyone of everything. I love that.
She makes Rachel Hollis's ambition look like
Oh gosh,
child's
like
play.
Rachel Hollis with her 170,000 subs compared
Yeah.
to Teal Swan is nothing.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Maybe Rachel Hollis's mentor is Teal Swan right now that she's becoming spiritual.
Well, there is a Teal Swan connection to Rachel Hollis. It's
Oh my
sort of-
God. No, I just said that out of my ass. I did not think this is real. Don't tell me that Rachel Hollis is falling onto this, please.
There's 1 degree of separation, so maybe she's, whatever. But the Rachel Hollis's energy healer, whose name is Kimberly, who has a practice and I say practice very loosely, has a business in Austin where she does like massage, spiritual life coaching, that sort of stuff. And Rachel has been like promoting her in the last year. That woman went through Teal's completion process, which is Teal's like flagship thing that she does to heal your trauma. So she on her website says like, I was trained in Teal Swan's thingy-mabobby.
Right. Okay. Well,
So-
then Rachel does know.
Yeah,
Fucking sorry. I shouldn't be swearing already. We've just started.
you're fine. This is a special. Wait, here's the Gaia ad. Okay. We need to talk about Gaia at some point too. The insanity that is Gaia. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Well,
other.
Teal Swan seems like a very similar or like the incipient stages of Gaia.
You mean the Gaia, the media company, or Gaia, like whatever the
The
word actually
cult.
means? Oh, it's a cult?
I think so.
Oh,
Are we not talking about the same thing?
I'm talking about Gaia, like the Netflix of spirituality.
Oh, okay. I feel like there's a cult with that name. Why do
Probably.
I think that? Never mind. We'll look into that.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. They talk about like Bigfoot is alive, while also on the next video, it's like the secrets of, I don't know, the secrets of the universe, manifest whatever. So it's very interesting content. So but you have to pay for it. So one day we'll look into
Oh, I love it.
it. Yeah.
They make it accessible only by paying. Okay, nice.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's locked away for only the ones that have taken the pill. All right. This is one of Teal's most popular videos of all time. It only has 3 million views. Okay, I thought it had more. This is from 2013. The hashtags are Law of Attraction, Spirituality, Awakening, and it's called How to Activate and Open Your Third Eye. Okay.
Where is where is my third eye?
Right
I
there.
want to activate it. Is it not in the back of my head?
Now that's if you're your mother only. That's only if you've birthed children, or if you're a teacher. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I guess I'm a teacher I'm like a teacher of the school of life, you know. I can teach you just how to get by, you know, like
How to
how to like
breathe, how to drink water.
yeah, how to heal yourself from everything. Yeah. No, I guess my third eye would be in the back of my head for sure. Like I'm better than a teacher even.
Yeah, like ascended past earthly
Yeah,
teachings.
I teach teachers. Like I'm so advanced.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
We'll have to duke it out as who's higher.
That's one
teacher.
thing we've learned from all these self-help gurus, just like exaggerate our qualifications to the point where we get like people like buying into our shit.
What's your experience on YouTube? Oh, I think I'm the master of YouTube. I'm pretty sure there's
Oh
no
yeah,
one that's come before that's known
I'm a
more.
total expert. I have like 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, I have 2 million potential followers every day.
Yeah, I get like 2 million impressions, so that probably means I have like 2 million subscribers, right?
Yeah, I agree. That's
Yeah.
good. I like it. I buy into it. Okay, here we go. How to activate your third eye. I'm very willing and ready to learn this. And I guess that's Teal as a cartoon.
She's a witch.
She's got a beard apparently sometimes. Because it's just her hair. So this is the Ask Teal. Oh, she's an author too, and this is when she was called Teal Scott.
Oh. Okay.
I guess someone said that Swan is her married name that she just didn't get rid of.
Hello,
Okay.
everyone. The third eye is a term we use for the sixth chakra. A chakra is a vortex point where the stream of consciousness from your higher self, which is energy which we call prana, feeds into the physical human form. The body, organ systems, will arrange itself according to the blueprint of the energetic chakras and meridians. And the sixth chakra, also called the third eye, is located right here, just above the eyebrows. Although every chakra is involved in extrasensory perception, the sixth chakra is the chakra which is referred to as the seat of intuition. It is the chakra which is associated with clairvoyance, precognition, out-of-body experiences, the ability to see auras, recognition, imagination, visualization.
I should have mentioned this. Whoever made this video helped Brene Brown with hers.
Yeah.
Stock footage searching.
We chakra.
Yeah, we chakra. We see. Ooh. That's
I
profound.
feel like the whole like your third eye is right here on your forehead just goes against like fairy tales and stuff that had like monsters and like Medusa with all the with all the eyes that I feel like she just made it so boring, like it's right here in your forehead, like
Well, that's Hindu. Like that's a Hindu tradition. Like that's I think that's why a lot of, well, I shouldn't say because I don't actually know, but why sometimes people who, well, Indians like put the dot there, I think, is to represent the third eye, like seeing, intuition, that sort of thing. And when you're in yoga teacher training, we learn about chakras and stuff, and it's basically based on the deities of the Hindu tradition. So it's sort of been co-opted, I suppose, by like these spiritual influencers that just go, oh, okay, one part of this larger like religious practice, the chakras, that's pretty. Okay, let me now co-opt that and make it into my own teaching, is kind of how I see it.
and there's something really annoying when people are stealing from other I know
Yeah,
I made
I
a
agree.
video about cultural appropriation with like a color pop eyeshadow palette, because they basically made it in the Native American print. This was like a long time ago that I made this video. It's not even worth watching at this point because I cringe when I watch my old videos. But anyway, um, so don't worry, you guys. You don't need to watch that. But basically, I got a lot of backlash. But my point in that was that Colourpop did this. They took the Native American, like, and the print, the very beautiful Native American
Tribal.
print,
Yeah.
the tribal thing, and they took like they put names on the colors, like that were like also somewhat relating to that, like how they have these names, like I don't know what to tell you now, but anyways, all sorts of things that were from the Native American culture. But then they, in the marketing or something, they had no people of color, like
Wearing
call
it.
it, if they were like, if in the marketing they had a person, a Native American person putting in the eye color, the eyeshadow or whatever, and if they had paid that person instead of just like using influencers for free, um I would have been like, okay, fair enough. They did a Native American campaign, they used Native American people with, or like people with background from the Native American culture, so
Yeah.
that feels like a celebration. But when you just take the thing and then you have only white people using the colors and on your pages, it felt off. And
Yeah.
basically, I feel like this is what Teal is doing right now, where she's like appropriating the Hindu thing with
Yeah.
chakras and whatever, and she's a totally white woman.
Totally. And she's not the only one that does this. This is a very common practice in, Western culture to take these old ancient traditions from the East, bring it to the West, monetize it, commodify it, change it, take out anything that they don't like that's a little bit complicated or, doesn't totally fit in like the prosperity, like you deserve everything in the world, keep paying me to feel this way mindset. And this is what it kind of boils down to, where it's like, this like watered down version of I don't even know what we're talking about. Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's huge. Wow.
Hi, Derek. Thank you for that
Thank
huge
you.
super chat. 18 stinking dollars.
Woo!
18 stinking dollars.
That's how
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. And just to clarify, it shows the dollar sign, so I'm assuming it's also.
It is 18 American dollars.
Yeah. Thank you so much. They say, I'll just say they. Darren says, y'all have me completely into the Hollis saga. It is my soap opera. I need to get a life. Thank you for your videos. Well, for that, I have to say,
Get a life.
Yeah. Get a
but if you need a life, I need 10 lives because that's all I care about and listen to.
Yeah. When I got into the Rachel Hollis thing, I barely had a life, I will tell you. I was just fully on, and yeah, never mind. So basically, Darren, what I'm saying is I understand perfectly.
We're all in this together.
Together.
Rachel, Hollis, and Dave, they're our lives and we love it. Okay. Back to Teal Swan, as she teaches us more about something she doesn't probably know about. And also, I don't know, there's something about her going to China at one point when she was a child or a teenager. They haven't talked about that in the documentary as of late, but they talked about it in the podcast that she had a whole like couple years in China at some point. So she might have picked up on some of these things or learned there. So she does have some Eastern experience, but you know, still, this is a common practice where people who are white women decide what they want to teach others from traditions that they've never really experienced other than like learning probably from another like white woman shaman.
Yeah, that's how I see it anyway. Like, I don't know if she has any reason why she should be teaching these things other than the fact that she liked it. She saw it somewhere, she liked it. She figured she can also teach, so.
Yeah. She's above humans, so she can do what she wants.
Oh, of course.
Okay, let's see. Back to Teal.
Dreaming, perception, and extrasensory perception. Because of this, the third eye is the chakra that is associated most closely with psychics. The reason we call it the third eye is because it is the chakra that allows us to be clairvoyant, in other words, see beyond ordinary sight. This is why psychics, whose third eyes were open, were called seers. When we are learning to focus into the third dimension, we limit ourselves to only seeing the third dimension. A baby is born seeing multiple dimensions, but learns to focus on the third dimension by ignoring the other dimensional realities. It is said often that we may close our third eye so we may learn to see with our two physical eyes. In order to activate the third eye, we're going to reverse this process. Learning how to activate the third eye is the key to experiencing higher, more multidimensional aspects of consciousness. It is extremely important that when we're learning to develop our psychic skills, that we spend some special time getting to know our shadow sides, our fears, because our fears are the number one thing that is going to cloud any of these intuitions from flowing through us. And many of you are familiar with the idea of projection, or the idea that your perspective, your own fears, your own trappings could color the truth of whatever you're perceiving. It's true that there's a lot of room for mistranslation between the truth of what the universe feeds to you and what you are ultimately able to perceive based on your individual perspective. We are each individual perspectives within the totality of the unified perspective, which we call Source or God perspective.
What? Okay.
And any
The only thing I really care about in that whole section is, you think babies just are born blind? They just only
I
see
want to,
through their
they can
forehead?
see multiple dimensions. I want a source on that. What does
Yeah.
that mean? They can see multiple dimensions, because I don't think. No, I don't think they're born blind.
Explain more. She's like, well, you shut down our third eye to start seeing through our, no, we shut down our third eye to start seeing through our physical eyes. It's like, so what were they seeing before? They were blind before?
I don't think they saw anything. I think babies are born with their eyes shut. So,
Yeah. And they open
and
their
they
eyes.
also I don't think they're very capable of seeing like the
Yeah.
ultimate universe, just as they exit the womb with their eyes shut. Like, I don't see it. I don't, I can't visualize that. Because they can't even eat by themselves.
Yeah.
So I struggle to think that they're like the be all and end all of like consciousness when they can't even walk.
Yeah. We really need to be taking our life advice from babies. And like, oh, what
You
would a
know-
baby do? They would cry
I would rather
and
say-
scream. Let's do that.
I'd rather take my life advice from like baby cats, because they can walk within like a couple weeks,
Or like an
even
elephant.
a week.
An elephant can walk in like a minute. They're like born and
Yeah.
they're like up on their feet. Or a giraffe, it's like, all right, you got 3 minutes to get up or you're getting left behind. Like, that's who we need to learn from.
Maybe the elephant has like the third eye inside the, what do you call the
Trunk?
thing? Yes.
Where he keeps
Using
all the
teal
peanuts.
with the green.
Teal elephant, the second coming, explaining the trunk eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rest
I just
that
can't
she's saying
believe-
is like, I don't know what the fuck she's saying. She's like, the consciousness and one source energy, God is here above it. I'm like, okay. I'm just like kind of like, no one's the next point that I care about.
Yeah, do you think she tapped into her stream of consciousness there and doesn't is just saying words? It doesn't
Tap, tap, tap. Hello.
like her consciousness has not caught up with it to be like, okay, how do we make this a proper sentence that makes sense?
Yes. And I find that to be true with a lot of gurus. I used to watch, I forget the one. He's like very popular on YouTube, and he would say stuff and like give like a life lesson. And I just found myself like drifting off. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to like focus. I need to focus. I'm like, I just don't think they're making any sense. Like, like they're just going off and saying words in it's like a Dave Hollis book. It's like going off in every direction, and like there's buzzwords there, but they don't actually connect to mean anything.
It's definitely not Tony Robbins. You can't sleep at that guy's speeches. Like it screams in your face too much.
I will say Tony Robbins has developed a system where he can like, am I right or am I right? Right. Okay. At least it keeps you engaged. At least.
At least, yeah. But at the same time, ugh,
Yeah.
yikes.
I prefer none, but if I had to force myself, I guess I would listen to him over her so far.
Yeah.
Okay. And her earrings too are little like,
Well, I guess
native
that's
you.
what is the selling point, isn't it?
what?
The
Tony?
earrings.
Oh yeah, she's enlightened because she's bought these at the
Yeah.
market.
She's spiritual. Look at the earrings. Like,
She's from Santa Fe, so this is like their look there.
oh, I have no idea where Santa Fe even is. But
New Mexico. It's like it's where Breaking Bad was. No, well, that was Albuquerque, I think, but in that state. So like that deserty look.
okay. Yeah. She's very white for a desert though.
Yeah. Well, she's also Mormon, so was, I should say.
Oh, so she went from one cult to the other. She was like, I
Yeah.
don't like this, so I'm gonna build my own cult.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
That
I like an
happens.
ambitious woman.
That happens a lot. I ain't listening to this prophet. I'm going to be my own prophet.
Yeah.
I see it. I can feel that. Okay.
Any information you'll be receiving, you'll be translating through your perspective. And so, the more aware you are of yourself, especially of your own fears, the less likely it's going to be that you will misinterpret that information or color it through the lens of what you are capable of believing. So now let's get to the meat of this discussion. What do we do to activate our third eyes? The recipe is fairly simple. Step 1. Eat a spiritually oriented diet. This diet is a vegan or raw diet. Foods that are grounding.
Okay. So this is tip number 1, okay? So we finally got to the meat of this. Ironically, the meat of this is to eat vegan. But I digress. So first things first, eat a spiritual diet, which is raw or vegan.
Man, I tried to eat raw. I because I am intolerant to dairy and stuff. Whenever I can, the only desserts I can eat, because most desserts are made with milk, and the only desserts I can eat are like raw desserts. But I'll tell you, it's like heavy. Like it's not the same when you have a piece of cake, normal piece of cake versus a piece of cake that is raw. That is way heavier because it's just like raw. So
dense. Yeah.
it's compressed fruit, whatever, like in there. So it's just so heavy. But it's not as good as regular stuff, unfortunately. I don't think it's as spiritual as like regular cake.
Well, you're not ready for the truth, so
I mean,
she's not here to give you a fun diet. She's here to give you the tooth diet.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I can see a comment on Jay Shetty. I'm trying to find the book. I have it. I'm in Glasgow now, so I
yeah.
might find the Jay Shetty book, and if I find it, then we can do Jay Shetty in July.
Do you mean Shay Jetty?
Shay Shetty.
I don't know if you were joking or serious, but either way, it's really funny.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I would title it that, but we wouldn't get the views.
Perfect. Yes. Shay Jetty. Our spiritual teacher. Okay.
Yeah, so you guys like manifest me finding the Jay Shetty book. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Open your third eyes and let
Yeah.
Cam know.
See it. If you see it with your third eye, tell me what it is.
Tell me where it is located.
Because I'm trying to find it.
I think it's on. Let me think. Your bookshelf. Check the bookshelf.
No, I think my ex probably like got rid of all my stuff.
Damn.
So
Check his bookshelf. It's probably there. I think I see it there. Is it a
Check
white,
the bins.
wooden bookshelf by chance?
how does the bin look in your third eye? Because it might be in the bin.
Yeah, there's lots of trash in here. Oh. You're welcome.
Yeah. But I love that they have a picture of.
If you didn't know
like,
what fruit
vegetables.
was, here you go. If you've never
Yeah,
heard of
it's-
vegetables,
And that's very chakra.
yeah, very chakra. High vibes. Okay, so eat vegan or raw. Then the next photo is a piece of meat, which I'm confused about, but I stopped it. So let's see what she has to say.
This diet is a vegan or raw diet. Foods that are grounding will bring you more into third-dimensional reality, whereas foods that are ungrounding allow you to expand your consciousness multidimensionally. Avoid fluoride. This affects the pineal gland. Some things to add to your diet.
Just throws in like a completely off-topic like conspiracy theory. Don't
Yeah.
breathe the air. Chemtrails. Anyways.
But you know that she knows everything because she's seeing through the eye, through the third eye. So she knows about the pineal gland, whatever that does that even exist? I need a source. Can I get any source from Teal Swan?
No, her source is source.
Nice. Mic drop.
Bye. Okay, so step 1, eat vegan or raw. Don't eat meat. You have to eat vegan raw. Then don't drink fluoride. Was there anything else that I missed in that short description?
I think she's about to finish that
Okay.
that plan, that meal prep plan.
Meal prep. Meal prep, no water. Okay, got it.
When learning to activate the third eye are my personal favorite, raw cacao.
Raw cacao. Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, because we all have access to that. Like,
Yeah. That's
it's
a
so
lot.
easy to just find raw cacao. Okay.
I'm sure she's got a distributor or some sort of code. This one happens a lot in like the spirituality local spaces that I used to go in, where these cacao ceremonies, these were very popular and common.
Oh, so what would they do?
I don't know. I didn't go. That was like right when I was like, nah, I'm out. But they were.
Was that like the breaking point? You were like, raw cacao is where I'm stopping.
Yeah, I'm like raw cacao. I was into like the hula hooping for spirituality, but like not this. Too far. No, I would have if I don't know. I happened to be like on the way out, and then they started to like really push these cacao ceremonies. I'm like, okay.
So were they meant to be eaten or like? Because I'm
Or
fairly
drank,
sure
I think.
that these are not good.
Yeah,
in
I
terms
don't
of how
know.
they are in raw.
I
That's
don't
why
know.
the cacao is processed and made into chocolate or something, so that it's edible.
Yeah, this is like super bitter. I don't know. I need to look that up. I know it's legal. That's the only thing I know.
But like, and well, I know that cacao can be used in like making cakes and stuff. I don't know. I don't think what I've seen is like raw because it was powder, but it comes from that. But like, it's not.
Processed.
Yeah, but it's not even like it doesn't taste good. Like it needs to be mixed with things to taste
Sugar.
good. It needs to be mixed with milk and whatever, like other things, so
Yeah.
that you can eat it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's also not like this is like where would you get?
We should
like,
look it up. We
You
should
would have
find
like
out.
your own personal supplier of raw cacao in like whatever. I
That's
don't
how
even
they
know where
get
it
you,
grows.
though. I'm telling you, she'll have probably like an affiliate link for like some farm that sells cacao or some company that claims to
Yeah.
sell it in a supplement, and then now you have this whole audience that wants to buy it.
And I would love to see if those people who are actually the suppliers are paid correctly, because
Yeah, probably
if
not.
this is another instance of like, I don't know, using cheap labor or something, and like things like this are actually like luxuries, but there are people like
I see some
the
on
you know
Amazon, by the way. Cacao.
raw.
It says raw cacao, and then it says cacao beans are processed at low temperatures. Okay. And it's only like, they have a bunch of options. Cacao powder, more so.
Yeah, powder. I've seen powder being used by my mom,
Hmm.
but I don't think it was raw at all. I think it was way processed.
It's supercharged with magnesium and flavonoids.
And hey, fair, like, I believe that cacao is good. I
Yeah,
believe that. I love chocolate. So,
me too. I'm a chocolate fan.
but I don't know if they're just like burning it or something in the ceremony, that would be such a waste.
I think it's tea. I think. But I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I actually have no idea. Okay, let's see. Maybe she explains it. Let's see.
Chaga mushroom,
Oh, no. Okay. Chaga mushroom. Okay. Another one
Oh, it's
specifically.
this so you can get high, or what is this like a hallucinogenic, or is this edible?
Probably just regular.
my personal
I
favorite,
went back.
raw cacao,
Okay. Raw cacao.
chaga mushroom,
Chaga mushroom.
lemons,
Lemons.
raw apple cider vinegar,
Okay.
Oh,
all
okay.
berries, especially
Kombucha.
I do like apple cider vinegar. Chaga mushrooms. Okay, it says chaga mushrooms was used in chaga mushrooms was used in a folklore. Hold on. Okay, folk remedy, and it gives me a giant disclaimer that says like, don't take this as medical fact. So that's always good. Just
Wow, okay.
continue like, all right, I'll take this with a grain of salt, literally. Okay, what is it used for? Boost the immune system, reduce inflammation. Okay. You can eat chaga and drink it as a tea, but talk to your healthcare provider. Okay.
Okay,
So
that's
some sort of mushroom. Okay, then berries. All right. This all sounds fine. Except for the
I mean,
fluoride.
but I don't know. This is like food. I don't know what this has to do with like being in Teal's cult.
Oh, well, she'll get
Yeah.
there. She's gonna talk
Oh.
about Hiroshima in a minute, so gear up.
Oh,
The weirdest analogy I've ever heard anyone ever use, which I think is important. And Kayla says, no, the chaga is at risk of being endangered. That's not good.
oh no! Don't buy the chaga, please. Thank you.
So is Palo Santo, apparently. Not endangered, but it's causing, people are going out into like places to allegedly, I read this in the LA Times, so, it sounds legit, that people are going into these fields or are growing this Palo Santo all year and they're not supposed to. And now like all the fields are being like, they're not fertile because the Palo Santo apparently is like difficult to grow or something. And so all these lands are being deserted because of the high demand from like white spiritual women to want to burn Palo Santo all day. So the industry is getting messed up because the whole point of it was supposed to be sustainable and now it's not. So
Of course, they will go and ruin everything.
Yeah.
But that's fair enough.
So.
Did it ever occur to you that we're like the anti-influencers? We're like, you know how normally
Influencers.
anti-influencers, I would say, because like normal influencers are like, here's my affiliate link, buy this, and we're like, don't buy this,
You're like,
and
"Oh,
don't do
no."
this, and
Yeah.
don't watch these guys, and then we wonder why we don't get sponsors.
I know. What the hell? We could have so many mushroom sponsors by now.
You guys go buy the chaga. It's fine.
Buy the chaga.
Just get it extincted. Extincted, is that a word?
Yeah, we'll make it go extinct, and then we'll save secretly some of the seeds, or I don't know. I guess it's not a
And
seed.
then we'll sell it for like a huge markup.
Yeah, that's our claim. That's our long-term plan. We're thinking like we're 3D chess.
We're like 3 decades ahead. Like this decade is hard, but 3 decades ahead, we got that
Yeah,
figured out
we're
already.
good. We've cornered the market. Okay, let's see what else we can force off the market. Let's see. So goji berries are one.
goji berries and blueberries, lavender, mugwort, poppy seed, grape juice, chlorella,
I like a different
Spirulina.
kind of grape juice.
Blue-green algae, iodine, zeolite, ginseng, bentonite clay,
What is this?
chlorophyll, cilantro,
It's all the things you need to
honey,
open your chakra.
coconut oil, hemp seeds, seaweed, and noni juice.
Noni juice.
Number 2, it's
Okay, so
So, first of all, why are like some random like iodine and stuff thrown into a list of like vegetables and fruit?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, that basically is my shopping list, like all the things she like listed. That's normally what I buy on a daily basis. So, I mean,
I buy a different kind of mushroom and also a different kind of like grape juice.
things can be subbed in and out, you know? I'm all about that noni juice. Sounds
What
wrong.
about that? What about that prosecco? It still comes from grapes, so I guess it counts, right, Teal?
She didn't specify, just literally had a juice cup with grapes next to it. So I don't know. Didn't look like Welch's to me, but
And you know, wine is actually sweet before it ferments. Like once, like when they start making it, it's like a juice, and then it ferments for like a few days. And I'm sure this is a different process depending on who makes it and the recipe. But I've seen it made in Romania, and it's like actually just super sweet at first, and then it ferments for like a few days, and then it's like wine.
okay.
So technically, I'm
So
like
you're good, is what you're saying.
I'm totally good.
You're
Like,
spiritually superior is what you're saying.
Oh,
Because you're
no.
actually a fermented, you got the fermentation, which is important, and you have the grapes. So you're like next level 5D.
oh, hey, my sister's here. Hey. Yeah, hi. Oh my God, she's got like the Pfizer picture. Does Pfizer know that you're like watching this?
You're watching Mugroot commercials in your free time. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome. That's probably her first live. No,
Woo.
yeah, I'm totally advanced because I drink grape juice on a weekly basis.
I mean, that's all she's explained so far. Is that's all you need. Step 1, eat this shit. Step 2, we're about to watch and see what else step 2 is. So you're already halfway there. So I think I'm out because I drink fluoride like on the daily. So, and I brush my teeth, unfortunately.
But like, do you think that Teal would be like, no, you can't come into my cult, or would she just make an exception for you?
I don't know. We can test it out. I can just drink a gallon of fluoride and then see if she can test if she can detect it in my body or not. That'll be a good test.
But what would your aura look like with all that chloride?
White.
Like a saint. Just
Fluoride makes my teeth white. Shiny.
Okay, fair enough. I would give you a pass if I was Teal because I
Thank
would
you.
probably have something to sell you later on. It's fine.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a buyer of items, so I'm a good customer. Okay. Step 2. We did the diet. Now next.
best to eliminate your dependence on your physical vision through these 2 eyes when you're working to activate your third eye. What that means is you want to either close your eyes or, better yet, find a place of total darkness, free from electronic equipment, screens, or any sources of light. When you are in total darkness, the pineal gland, which is the first organ, which is the manifestation, physically, of your third eye. Darkness stimulates the pineal gland to produce melatonin. And melatonin plays a really key role in getting your brain into a state where it is able to experience, where you are able to experience heightened states of consciousness, which are not limited to the third dimension. That's why melatonin plays such a key role in sleep, which is in fact an out-of-body experience.
Since
So
when?
you want to sit either with
Sleeping is an out-of-body experience?
It's very in body, in my opinion.
To me, it's very much body. Yes. Yes, in body, I think is the perfect way to describe it, like you said. Very much
Yeah.
in my body.
I don't know. I looked into this pineal gland, and apparently it was described by the seat of the soul by Descartes. And it's located at the center of the brain. It's to receive information about the state of the light dark cycle. But I don't think Descartes meant, or whatever, whoever discovered this pineal gland, I don't think they meant light dark as in like consciousness. I think they meant like actual
Physically.
light and dark, you know?
Well, that's what she's
But
saying. Like, she's like, blindfold yourself so that you'll produce melatonin to go to get sleepy, to then get your third eye going, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently it does produce the hormone melatonin. Because at this point, I feel like we need to double check what she's saying, like
Oh,
at every. But I don't know what this has to do with anything. Yeah, the gland exists and it does produce melatonin. And so, what's the point, Teal?
We'll find out. She's alluding to it slowly over time. So step 1, eat a raw vegan diet and take all these supplements. Don't drink fluoride. Then put a blindfold over your eyes. That's it. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. At
okay.
least there's steps, like concrete steps that she's actually listed. I will give her credit. It's not like, just believe in yourself. There's a little bit more like, okay, I have a game plan here.
So, just so you know, like the liver detoxifies your body. And so the chakra means that you should buy my course. Right?
Yes.
I guess I could make that sound even better, but I would need some time to write down that script. But I think that the gist is like it has something to do with the liver, so you should pay $9,997 for my course. How about that?
Yes. And I don't know, I think she probably does have a course, but she has a private, like her own YouTube version. Like, so basically she has like a library of videos that's like Teal Premium. That's her big money maker, I think. That's what you pay and subscribe to her website, and you can get her exclusive content.
I think I know why she has this.
Why?
And because in 2019, the BBC reported on her, and as a result of the reporting, some of her videos were taken down. And basically, I think maybe if you want, we can look into that.
Yeah, send me the link of that.
Yes.
We can watch that. Okay. We're going to watch this, though, for now still, because I need to get to the Hiroshima part, because that's my favorite part of this video. I think it's just so bizarre. So we're almost there, I think.
With your back straight, or lie down on a bed with your arms over your head or straight at your sides. And you want to begin by watching the breath. We want to let the breath be the doorway between other dimensions and the third dimension, between states of consciousness. So you're observing the breath in and out. You want to make sure you breathe in the nose and out the mouth. And you want to watch your thoughts. We don't want to resist your thoughts, because if you resist a thought, you focus on the thought, you fuel the thought, more thoughts come. So you're just observing your thoughts, and when they come up, you're just allowing them to flow past. You'll start to get in a kind of rhythm with this. Then I want you to focus all of your attention on the tension that's in your face, neck, and especially behind the ears here. You'll notice how much tension you carry in your head specifically, but that kind of tension is going to be a real deficit when it comes to allowing that energy to flow through like it has to for you to open your third eye. So you want to focus on that tension and intentionally release the muscles around your eyes, around your ears, and any other place on your head, your scalp, where there might be tension. For this next part, you want to take a deep breath all the way in, and you want to hold it for as long as is comfortable. And then you want to create a small part in your bottom jaw and top jaw, just enough to fit your tongue in between your teeth.
Can't do it.
And on the exhale, you want to create a very specific tone. Your pineal gland, your third eye, is very sensitive to tones, so we can use tones to help activate the third eye. So once you breathe in and you have held your breath for as long as comfortably possible, you want to create the sound tho, like Thohhhh. It should sound like this.
Swan.
Tho.
Got it.
My eye is open.
You want to try to keep your tongue in between your teeth for that.
The prophecy is real. Thoughts so far? Okay, so again, we'll give her credit. There's concrete, practicable action items that I have already tried right now during this stream. So I will give credit where credit's due. Raw vegan diet, no fluoride. Blind yourself, say though with your mouth in a certain way. Okay.
And that's it. You're cured. You can go on and die now.
You can reset your life now. I haven't heard that one. I've heard Om. You know, Om is like the sound of the universe, they say. And though is a different one. I've never heard that one before.
Anything to put yourself into a sort of trance so that you don't think critically. You don't use your brain.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we're making progress here. I feel more enlightened as we're watching this.
I feel like my eye has been opened, my third eye, and now I can see through her bullshit.
I can see this is all ruse. Oh, okay. Man,
It's like, wait, that's not what you should see.
that was not the intention, but here we are. Can't fight source. Okay.
Process, so it's sort of vibrating between your teeth as you do that exhale. You can play around with the pitch and tone of it so you find something which really vibrates your body. You want to do this 6 times in a row. I do want to warn you, though, that this activity can cause headaches because you are activating a portion of your brain which isn't used to being used. So you might experience headaches, migraines, detox symptoms, dizziness
Wow.
sometimes, or you may start to hear noises inside your head, like popping or crackling. That's totally normal. So if it doesn't bother you too much, continue to do the second part of the exercise. Next, you want
My brain starts crackling.
You might have a seizure.
You might be in trouble.
You might die.
Yeah.
Z, hi Z, hello. She says, why does she look like Tati Westbrook's alter ego? She so does look like Tati. Like, I don't, except Tati's religious, and this person is spiritual. So they're like, you know, 2 sides of the same coin.
It's like 2 sisters, but one went one path and one stayed at home.
Just like twins separated at birth.
Twin flames.
Twin flames. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's with all this stuff about like going through a seizure? It's fine if you feel that. It's totally fine. If you're about to die and you're fainting and you're like hearing things and you're hallucinating.
Good
I'm
signs. All signs of spiritual growth. Yeah.
If you guys hear any of that, I would say call the ambulance like immediately.
If you start to hear voices in your head that tell you that the TV is talking to you, that's a good sign. Just keep following that. Like, oh God, like,
Yeah.
my head's popping. Good. That means it's working.
If you start hearing hallucinations about buying my course, that's totally fine. Just like step into that. Keep
Step
going.
into that light. Keep following that. Don't listen to haters. Listen
Yeah.
to that voice
Yeah.
in your head.
Start walking towards your credit card slowly.
You're going to find numbers. Sequences of numbers are very important in the next 32 hours. Make sure to write them down and actually send me the numbers and I'll analyze them through the spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the date on the back?
What was the expiration date? Like, that's very important.
I need to pull your chart. What was the expiration date on that credit card that you gave me? It's all a sign.
Yeah. This is the fun part, by the way, you guys. So enjoy this.
Yeah,
because
enjoy
what's
this
coming,
fun part.
What's coming is very dark.
Only goes
And I don't mean
downhill
to
from
laugh,
here.
But yeah, it's going very much downhill.
Okay, here we go. Snack, crackle, and pop in your head. No problems. Let's go.
You want to breathe in deeply and you want to hold your breath for a count of 6. Do this 3 times.
6, 6, 6.
And then, just like we did in the last exercise, you want to breathe all the way in and hold your breath. But this time we're going to be making a different tone, which will accelerate your activating the third eye even further. This is what the next tone is going to be. May. Kind of like the month of May.
Oh.
But it should sound like this.
We are in May right now.
It's a sign.
May.
The May.
May.
I start levitating.
June.
I want to explain, though, that people are affected by different tones. So even though we are all using the word May, we can experiment with what tone specifically starts buzzing this chakra. That's what you want to feel for. So this is how it should look. May. What I was doing just then is finding the tone that I could feel vibrating right here in my head area, in my third eye area. Whatever tone that is for you is the one you want to hold for this exercise, and you want to repeat that 6 times for the duration of a very slow out breath. As you hold this tone, you might feel the sensation of buzzing move from your center of your forehead deep into the center of your brain and up into the crown of your head. That's totally normal. All that is that you are activating your third eye to such a degree that you can now feel the channel, which is a natural
Totally
channel,
normal.
which brings extrasensory information from non-physical energy in through physical to the third eye. That's all that you're feeling is that.
There's too much brain physical ailments I think are being brought up with this that are being explained away. Like, normal. If you have pain in the middle of your brain, perfectly normal. Great for you, actually.
Yeah, that's not a seizure at all. Just keep saying May.
Yeah, if you don't like May, just pick a new word like
Just
July.
pick a different month or a day of the week. Just to say.
Say, can I? Can I go to the bathroom?
Monday.
I don't know why this comment is so funny. Why do I feel like eventually these random syllables will trick me into joining the Navy? It's so specific. I love it.
Yeah.
Semper Fi, join
Why
today.
the Navy though? Don't join the Navy.
Recruiting Tactics by Teal Swan.
Yeah.
You'll make join something, but it's probably going to be her cult, I would imagine, based on this. Okay, we're almost at the good part, I promise. I mean, this is a good part too, but the part that I am most excited about, which is sad to say.
That channel.
Okay, here's Gaia TV. Let's skip this in 4 seconds. Dun dun dun. Okay.
Next, with your eyes closed, imagine your third eye. Imagine that it is closed, just like you would close your physical eyes. Now imagine it opening, as if from sleep, slowly. If you're having a difficult time, you may need to direct your eyes, with lids closed, toward the third eye, and keep them there. So this is what it would look like. Even though my eyes are closed, I can rotate my eyes behind the eyelids straight up to be looking right here at this point in the forehead. It might feel as if your eyes are straining a bit, but this can help you to open your third eye and to activate your third eye. So this is up to personal preference. Some people don't have to do that step, other people do. What do you see?
Nothing.
Do you see images? What do you feel? Do you feel sensations? At first, they may be blurry. You may only see patterns, colors, or outlines.
I see pepperoni.
Your feelings might be very faint or confusing.
I see.
Observe what you
Bottle of
see or
wine.
feel with no judgment.
Grape juice.
When you are born into the physical world, this world was blurry and indistinguishable to you. Now this will be the same. In time, you will learn to see what is extra-dimensional, with as much clarity as you learn to see the physical dimension. When you feel ready to come back to third dimension, you want to focus back on the breath, which is your doorway to and from the physical dimension. And then you want to open your eyes, and you want to make sure that you write down the exact impressions which you received or saw. I want you to repeat this process every day for 3 weeks. And then you can begin to guide the process. When you're in the phase where you have opened your eye and you're beginning to look at and perceive the things which are extra-dimensional, you can start to say any affirmative statement, such as clarity now, that will tell that dimensional reality to organize itself in a way that you can perceive it, in a way that you can translate it, and understand what it is that you're seeing. We have to understand that we're interacting with a fourth dimensional reality when we are just activating our third eyes. And a fourth dimensional reality is immediate. An immediate time-space reality means there is no buffer time. It's not like here where you think a thought for so long and then it manifests. Basically, you can sum it up like this. Outside of this dimension, think it, and it is so. After a few times of doing this, you can amp up these sessions by deliberately going looking for things you want to see. So you could ask the universe a question, or else you could ask to be able to see something.
Okay, here it
that you
comes.
haven't.
Here it comes. Okay, so if you could ask, you've done this this practice, you're getting really good at opening your third eye. So you could ask the universe what you would like to experience, right? Okay, so what would you ask, Cam? What would you ask?
I would ask for wine.
For some wine? Okay, that sounds like pretty, nice, like a relaxing experience. What about a time in history? I mean, I've already given it away because I said it, but like, what would you want to experience in history if you could go back in time?
I would go back to when I was 18 and stop making mistakes in life.
So, 20?
I would go back to the day I met my ex and just take myself out of that date.
2013, just like, I want to return in history to 2013 just to see how it was, experience it again. Okay. Teal has a different idea about what part of history she would like to repeat. And I already said it because I ruined it, but I find it just hilarious that this is what she would pick out of all the options in the whole universe.
Seen before. For example, you might open your third eye and say, "Show me my mother when she was my age." You want to mess around too with different perspectives, because you are only limited to your own individual perspective in this reality. Outside this reality, you can experience other perspectives. That means, let's take a given event. Let's say you wanted to go back and experience Hiroshima. You could experience what it was like to be a small boy being bombed, what it was like to be a soldier dropping bombs.
Oh my
You could
God!
experience Source's mind, what Source's perspective.
What?
Wouldn't you love to go back and be the boy being bombed in Hiroshima and then also
you
be
like
the guy dropping the bomb? You can have both. You can have both in this reality.
Wouldn't you like to go back and beat Hitler?
Yeah.
Just try. You might succeed. Like how
what?
cool would it be to beat Hitler right now? Wow.
Fun.
Okay.
What a unique cultural experience. You can both be Hitler and a prisoner of war. Amazing.
How cool! You're gonna kill an entire city and just like all of the countries in the neighborhood would be fucked too.
Like, oh, that's why I'm eating a raw vegan diet so I could go back and experience Hiroshima. Like,
Yeah, I promise you guys, nobody wants to experience Hiroshima.
on either side. I don't think the people dropping the bombs had some sort of like, yeah, this is wonderful. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I wrote that down. I watched this video a while ago. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Would you guys like to go and experience Chernobyl? Like, how fun.
You could be the guy that touched the first rock and had his whole body melted. You could also be the guy that
Yeah.
Died 10 years later. It's wonderful. So
Yeah,
cool.
totally. I would totally be that baby that was born with like 17 hands or something. Like that is so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Perspective. We could bring Gary Vee
yeah.
into this. It's all about perspective.
But I like that she went from like you might want to imagine your mom at your age to like Hiroshima. Like you might want to imagine your mom at your age and then
Yeah,
throw
okay.
her under a bomb. um, yeah.
Oh man. I can't. That's so
Wow.
funny.
Okay.
Okay, that was
Wow,
the best
because
part. We can move
Hiroshima
on
was
now.
such a good time for people. That was the best time in history. Just an entire city was wiped. That was just such an amazing time.
And like the most innocent of perspectives too, like the little boy. Like, yeah, that's what I want to imagine, especially when I'm like having like some sort of spiritual crisis. I want to pretend that I'm like the most innocent, like
Just see,
I don't know.
just the little boy seeing his entire family dead because of a bomb. Yeah, that's lovely. That's
I can't wait to
perfect.
imagine that at night in my dark
Yeah,
room with my
that sounds
blindfold on.
very Gary V. Like, imagine your family getting shot in the face and then divorce your wife and get a very hot girlfriend.
It's all about perspective. Now she can sell more books because it doesn't matter.
And NFTs, like, she can get onto the
Yeah.
NFTs.
Now
Gary is right there.
she's done the worst case scenario with her third eye mantra, so now she can sell, and if she doesn't succeed, she's good.
Yeah.
I like this. I'm more of a Nagasaki girl.
Yeah.
I really like the famine of 1845. I really would like to travel back there and just relive the experience of that. Like, okay, thank you, Teal.
Yeah. I like, what was that called? The Spanish flu. That's what I
Yeah, the
took
first
up.
COVID. Yeah, I'm gonna put you in
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
that
I
was funny.
disappeared. I am just a man now. Oh,
You were just a shadow now in the spiritual realm. We're back in the 3D world, so you can
oh,
return.
Maddie, we're on the same wavelength here. Maddie was thinking of Gary V too. Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Perspective. It's all about perspective. Shoot your family in
Yeah.
the face.
So it's getting worse right now. I don't know, like big trigger warning for this.
Yes.
This is
There's a trigger
there's
warning within this trigger warning because this video also has a trigger warning on it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So you guys, this is about unaliving not oneself, but like also oneself, but also people who actually did it, and yeah, so it can be a little sad.
Yeah, so we've reached this part of the live stream where it gets into the how has this hurt people? How has Teal Swan's teachings actually affected people in the real world? Because we can laugh and it is silly and funny, and she's ridiculous, and you can watch her videos and go, oh my God, this is a crazy person. However, she has caused, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, real damage through her teachings and these videos that are targeted in a very specific way. So I don't know about this video in particular specifically, but this is kind of the biggest criticism that I've seen thrown at her is that people call her, and again, trigger warning's been out there, so I'm going to start talking about the suicide catalyst, because a lot of people are finding her when they're already down a path. And she specifically titles her videos and she uses keywords specifically to target those types of people. And she's open about it. It's not like it's like some sort of secret that I'm assuming. Like she has a marketing strategy that, is all about that. Like if you were to search, I'm alone, or I want to unalive myself, like that's the key phrase word that she hopes that you're searching for to find her video. So imagine what type of person is in that state, and then imagine like what her message could kind of compel someone to do. That's sort of like the buildup. Am I missing anything?
No, that's right. And I would like to we'll get to that and we'll pause, but just watch her reactions as she's being interviewed in this, because that is very telling in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
This is Teal Swan. Hello everybody, time for update time. If you didn't
She's an
notice,
influencer and spiritual teacher who says some of her videos on mental health save lives.
It makes it so that suicide can be our safety net or our reset button that's always available to us.
I've immersed myself in Teal's world and met the people who say she has shattered theirs.
You would have to convince me otherwise that Teal's teachings did not play a significant role in the mind of our daughter when she took her life.
Teal Swan calls herself a personal transformation revolutionary.
The reason that I'm calling myself a revolutionary of sorts is that I don't fit in with any of the methodologies that exist today. I'm a game changer.
She's built a huge online following. Her YouTube channel has over 78 million views.
More now.
It's made her money. Many of her videos have advertising. She also takes her teachings on the road,
if you didn't notice, I'm in the city of Chicago.
holding workshops across America and Europe with tickets going for up to $200. I went to Chicago to see one.
They're the person that we all came to see. Welcome to you on stage.
So it's just the start of the evening with Teal, and I've been told that it's likely to last around 6 hours. And during that time, Teal will read the room and select people to come up on stage and basically tell them what she thinks is happening in their life.
But before she does that, an exercise.
The first thing that I want you to do is to close your eyes. Okay, I want you to imagine that you changed nothing about your life. Absolutely nothing, nothing at all. Now see yourself in 2 years. Now go 15 years. Now we're going to do something interesting. We're going to go to your deathbed.
She says the point of doing this is to reflect on whether we're living our best lives. But Teal's been accused of being preoccupied with death and suicide in particular. She says she's helping destigmatize difficult topics.
What's happening when I'm talking in my video series about all of these very vulnerable, very deep, intimate subjects is that people feel as if somebody sees them, somebody gets me, somebody is giving me some real answers here.
Who's feeling brave next?
I really believe in what Teal is doing. I think she's changing the world. I wanted to see if this person was like an actual, real deal, like genius.
She seems like she's very open-minded and exceptionally perceptive.
For many, it's Teal's videos that have drawn them here. Videos like this.
What suicide is pushing the reset button. It's not a good or bad decision in and of itself. You cannot say that suicide is wrong without also saying that death is wrong.
She says viewing suicide as an option allows people to set the idea aside and focus on feeling better. Teal insists she's helping people, and some of her advice is mainstream.
What can I do in these 5 minutes that makes me feel a tiny bit better? You have to express the way you feel in any way that calls to you. Some people prefer to sing, some people prefer to yell it out. It is so incredibly critical to involve other people in that particular process.
Teal believes in reincarnation. In one exercise, she tells viewers to imagine their deaths.
So let yourself physically give up on life by falling on the floor.
According to Teal, this will make people see that there's nowhere to go from death but back to life. So why leave? In a Google video search on terms related to suicide, that film came up as one of the top results with more than 230,000 views. I wanted to know if any of what she's saying could be harmful.
When she said, visualize yourself, how you're going to kill yourself, I think that's the most problematic of many of the things that she said that are problematic, because she is telling you to rehearse your suicide. She's got these ideas that in her mind are only helpful, but for others could be really dangerous.
But Teal contests this.
Rehearsing, which is suicidal ideation, right, is a subconscious process. If you make that process conscious, then you can go to a different place with it.
She says this will result in a more positive outcome. Teal has a closed Facebook group with more than 27,000 members. I joined it and saw dozens of posts from people saying they felt suicidal. We know of 2 such people who went on to take their lives. One of them was this 18-year-old. Her mum says she was a talented artist.
She had a gift for lighting.
Drawing on paper and online.
Eyes were always like
So good.
extraordinary. I know everybody thinks that maybe their child is an artist, but she really was.
She shared this drawing she'd done of Teal in the Facebook group. Later, when she was struggling with a breakup, she posted about a suicide attempt and included a picture of a woman holding her fingers to her head like a gun. In response, one of the group's volunteer moderators referred her to Teal's video, the one that suggests people imagine their deaths. Her mother had no idea she'd been suicidal until 2 weeks later, when she shot herself. Now every day brings reminders.
There's the day that your child took their life, and Mother's Day, and there's Father's Day, and some of the most joyous days of your life become some of the most challenged days.
After her death, she trawled her daughter's social media and saw her posts on Teal's Facebook group. What did you think of the responses to your daughter's post that she had tried to end her own life?
I can't even believe that when you're in a group of people to pass along a video of that nature, that's the tool that you think will help someone when they're in that phase of their life. Well, I believe that there were more than one undercurrent happening in the life of our daughter. You would have to convince me otherwise that Teal's teachings did not play a significant role in the mind of our daughter when she took her life.
But when I spoke to Teal in Chicago, she said she's the reason more people haven't taken their lives. What do you say to people who accuse you of encouraging suicide?
That's pretty funny.
Look at that.
It's really funny to me that you can tell somebody who was suicidal.
Did you see that reaction? This, like in this interview, this is the part where I found that her reactions were very odd and very aggressive towards, like, just in general, if I was, or if a normal person was told that, someone who is not evil, you would have a different reaction. You would be like, first you would, I don't know, I would definitely not be laughing like that. Like, this
And
is
she
an
knows
interview
that this
with the
person
BBC.
died. Yeah, she knows this person exists and that this person died. That was in the group. That's like she knows all of that stuff. It's not like, oh, I've never heard that before. She's very aware. So,
And she will literally be asked about that, and you'll see her reaction then too. I'm curious to see what you think, but in my opinion, these reactions
it's
are quite
horrendous.
evil.
Like, even watching this, like, I'm not an emotional person, but like, even watching this myself, I'm like, I just feel so badly for the mom because, you know, and I see people talking about it too. It's like, you don't, her daughter was an adult woman, but still, like, you want to understand
18.
them. Yeah, young, and you want to understand, and then to know that there was like this person or she did reach out for help to somebody online, and then they sent her that. Like, I just cannot imagine like the anger and sadness that I would feel if I was her, if the mom, and like what she said about Mother's Day and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I can't
gosh,
imagine.
I never had kids, but I can imagine that losing a kid is probably the absolute worst thing
In that
to
way,
ever go
especially
through.
because you can always think like, I could have done something else. I could have been there for her. I could have asked her. I could have tried. I could have gotten her computer. I could have like helped her, saved her, whatever. I would imagine. I mean, I'm not a mom either, but that would be my thoughts. Like, oh my God, what did I do wrong to help to contribute to this? And then for her to laugh is like so disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like that reaction, just pure evil. I swear to God,
Yeah.
like this is the only word I can use. But when somebody's like, "Hey, you've been accused of like contributing to people unaliving themselves," and she's like, hilarious. Like, I find that like it's just not in range with reality. Like, that is the reality is like people have lost their lives or taken their lives, and you're laughing about it.
And I guess it goes back to like her beliefs. You know, if you really truly believed, and I don't know if she does or not, but if she truly believed in reincarnation, like maybe you would have those like, well, you know, suicide's just a reset. Like, who cares? Like, you're starting fresh. You're a baby again. Like, that's wonderful and amazing. Or you're an animal this time, and that's cool. And like, this just goes on forever and ever and ever. Like, I guess I could understand the lightheartedness about it, but I don't even know if she truly believes in that. I think she just is so, like you said, out of touch and feels that she is so much superior to people, and then gets the confirmation bias of people who also believe that about her, that she feels like, oh, I could never do anything wrong, so anything I say, of course, is right. So it's silly to think that I could cause someone harm, because she just can't see that would be wrong.
We will see in this video, she goes on to explain her views.
Okay. Well, let's go back just to re-experience that wonderful. Oh yeah, this looks like a very pleased and happy woman to have just been asked, like, tell me about your newest project. Yes, thank you so much. Like, not like, hey, you know, this person who followed you, joined your group, interacted with your followers, took their own life after watching a video in which you basically say that that's okay to do. This is not the reaction that I would have or expect her to have. Okay, so let's play it again. I just want to see that whole interaction. I'll let it go so we can see the whole group of events.
She's the reason more people haven't taken their lives.
What do you say to people who accuse you of encouraging suicide?
That's pretty funny. It's really funny to me that you can tell somebody who was suicidal for years, who does videos on what to do if you're suicidal, right? How to pull yourself out of it, and what to do if somebody around you is suicidal. To call them a proponent of suicide is ridiculous.
Well, certainly on your Facebook page, there have been at least 2 quite young people that have taken their own lives.
I'm not aware of them.
Yeah,
if you look at the demographic of people who are interested in my type.
That right there. So she's literally been told, like, on your Facebook group, there's 2 people
She's
who
aware.
might have. She's like, I'm not aware of them. Like, any normal, like, not evil person's reaction to that would be like, wait, who? Like, if they weren't aware, they would be like, oh my god, like, you know, like, your reaction would be immediate concern, and you would immediately want to know all the details, like, who's that person, what happened, like, I don't know about this, like, your reaction would not be like, I'm not aware of them.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very like nonchalant, but it bothers me too because the way she speaks, and I found this to be true in multiple interviews that I've watched of her, she seems to think as if she's the first person in the world that thinks that they have an opinion on suicide and they should share it. And it's like, idiot, like, there's reason everyone has an opinion about a lot of different things, but we don't share them publicly in a way that's like, this is what you should do, because you don't know what the other person is thinking. You know, whatever helped me may not help this person. So like, spreading my own opinion is not going to help anything. And it's a conscious choice to not do that. It's not like, oh, she's the first human to go, we should talk about this issue. It's like the guy that she interviewed, the reporter, was like a researcher on suicidology. Like, that person's whole life and career is dedicated to learning more and understanding it. He could make a YouTube channel because he has a lot of knowledge about it. I don't know if he does, but I'm assuming he doesn't say what she does. And where is her knowledge coming from? The fucking ether that she's making up because she's got some sort of psychopathic, you know, disorder probably, about how amazing she is and how much better she is than everyone else. It just really bothers me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she has literally no credentials to be talking about this, like, none.
No.
Aside from the fact that she says that she has been in that situation, but that doesn't make you an expert. And you shouldn't be like, it's such a sensitive moment to be like, when somebody is in that situation, like, they should be immediately sent to an expert on that, like either a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist, or someone who can actually help. But that in no way, if somebody was would tell me that, would I be like, yeah, I have the answers for you, let me just tell you about how to do it. Like, I would be like, oh my god, okay, let me find someone that you can talk to who is qualified, who can actually talk about this with you in a way that is not going to damage you and push you to do things that you might not want to do truly.
Yeah. And I think there's a bit of truth in it where it's like maybe as a society there's certain, like if you like when I went to college for journalism, you know, that was one of the things I struggled with a little bit, because you're not supposed to ever report on a suicide. Like if you came across, like let's say you were following a story or you were following an ambulance or something and you found out that you're at the scene and then it turns out to be a suicide, you don't report that story anymore. And I found that to be good and bad. Good in the sense of like, okay, it's someone's private medical information, it's someone's private thing, there's no crime committed here. However, I thought that, well, people aren't aware of how common this is because there's no news coverage. You can see a statistic and go, oh, 30,000 people of this age killed themselves last year, okay. But it doesn't have the same impact as if you were to see every single day there's 3 people in your community that are doing this. And I fought that a lot with my professors, like, look, like I see that this way, but it was in a setting, in an academic setting where we were having a debate and there was good reasons and there's bad reasons. And I came out thinking like, you know, I think the way that they've handled it so far is fairly good. However, now YouTube was just starting when I was in college. So this wasn't part of the conversation, but now everyone is a news network. Everyone is an expert, quote unquote. And so, someone like Teal, who didn't go and have these, ethical conversations at a college level or at any level at all, she's just going off of like intuition. And if I would have done that, I probably would have made a mistake too. But it's like, that's why someone needs to check these people or check yourself, because you are going to cause real damage and you're not even thinking about the consequences. And that's just about like the ethics of like, okay, talking about suicide more openly, I think could be positive, possibly in the right context, in the right way as a society. If we became more open and honest about it, how we're feeling, as opposed to being like, I'm going to be locked up if I, say the truth. But she's taken it completely too far.
But she's also, I guess the problem I see with it is she cannot help. Like she can truly not help. Like she's not qualified in any sort of way. So for her to even, this is such, like that moment, if somebody is in that situation, that is a very highly sensitive moment. This is not like, it's a highly emotional, highly sensitive moment in someone's life. It means that they're struggling with something. It means that they're not finding any solutions. They're not finding any meaning, any purpose. It's like, that is a lot of, that is a it's a very emotional moment. Like that is not a moment to be just, it needs to be handled with like serious care. It's not flippant. It's not like, oh sure, like, oh, just a little talk about like,
so funny.
yeah, that's not what that is. And I think that's why I can understand why in journalism it was like maybe underreported, because I can see why if you are in that situation and you're seeing a report of someone doing it, it might push you over the edge. So I think basically maybe that's why it was. I have no idea really what's the background on that, but that
partially,
would be my
yeah. And
understanding.
I think I came to understand that, but I asked the questions as opposed to just creating my own idea about it and then like spurting it out as fucking advice. That's the difference. Like maybe she should go see an expert and go, hey, this is my belief, this is what I think, what do you think? And then maybe would get like a little clue about, okay, well, that's probably a little bit dangerous for people in this situation, that situation, but it's like the problem is with these like, and I don't think narcissists in the sense of like diagnose. I mean, in her case, I could see it, but I'm not a psychologist. But with these narcissistic people as a personality trait, they think they've created this thing that no one's ever thought about. No one could ever implement but them. So they feel so empowered with their own like bullshit. It's like stronger than ever needing to bounce an idea off of someone else who may know more than them. But that's a huge issue.
Yeah, and I don't think that she has the means to handle it or control it, even in the, because like there's one thing when you're discussing this behind the camera and you're alone in a room and you're just talking out of your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And as a YouTuber, I can assure you,
Sure.
it's not it's not a proper conversation. It's a monologue. Whatever it is you're just doing, you're only talking to yourself, or
Mm-hmm.
what. Sometimes when you're streaming, you're talking to people like we're doing now, but like
Sure.
most times you would be talking to yourself on a video, and that's what the videos are. But there's a different thing when you're in a group of people where you're doing a conference like she does.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle it if somebody decides right then and there to take you up on your word and just like,
You don't. You go, oh, I don't know about them.
yeah, I'm not aware.
I'm not aware.
I'm not aware. Oh, I don't know. Oh, but this person is on video, like right in front of you, unaliving themselves. Like, oh, I'm not aware of it.
I'm not aware. Well, that's their point. It's the reset button. Yeah, you can just
Yeah.
you could just talk it away.
And that's how you end up in prison, like Arthur Ray, James Arthur Ray.
Yeah, and then he'll get. I mean, he's another person who said after, his 3 people of his group died as a result of his actions, and later on he had said, well, allegedly, he had said that, well, maybe they wanted to play on different realms. Like, fuck you, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And I feel like that to her too. I mean, we're not going to get monetized. We're not going to get monetized on this video already. So whatever. I think we could just be honest. Like, fuck you. That's just how I want to say, like, to all of them. Like, they believe their teachings are worth more to the world than that person who died. And that is the ultimate fucked up mindset that is like permeating spirituality, permeating self-help, and causing people to do all sorts of things, go into debt, kill themselves, like do these medical treatments that are ridiculous. It's like, this is a huge, huge, huge problem. And on that note, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Okay. I have to go.
Yeah.
Should I play it or do you want to talk?
Yeah, play it.
Okay. So sorry. I drank like 3 cans of iced tea.
You're working with an unstable group of people already, a very large following that I have. The fact that I am now responsible for suicide in people who came to me suicidal, that's pretty insane too, to say that towards anyone.
We'll never know if anyone who took their life did so because they were influenced by Teal's teachings. And there are people who say that she's helped them when they felt suicidal. Since our interview, Teal's recorded another video on this topic.
There's been a lot of confusion and misconception about my stance on suicide. To be crystal clear, I'm against suicide.
Later, in a statement, Teal told us that any suicide is a tragedy and we send our deepest condolences to this young woman's family. She also added that many mental health professionals support my teachings. The charities and experts I spoke to said it can be helpful to have discussions about suicide, but they're worried about the way Teal's going about it and where her ideas are being shared.
If you're suicidal and you go onto a forum and everybody is suicidal, everybody's posting about being suicidal, then it normalizes being suicidal. And so I think social media platforms have an enormous responsibility.
In response to our investigation, Facebook took down Teal's private group. They told us that their specially trained teams do allow some content which expresses an intention towards suicide as an opportunity for someone to respond to what may be a cry for help. However, they said, we do not allow content which directly promotes or encourages suicide or self-harm. That's why we have removed the Teal Swan group. But already Teal's fans have started a new group with similar content. While it's not administered by Teal, at least one senior person from her management team is a member. YouTube have told us that they have a clear policy that prohibits content promoting self-harm. And as a result of our reporting, they have removed the video where Teal advises people to imagine their deaths. But it is still up on at least one other person's channel and has been shared within the new Facebook group. And that just shows how difficult it is to monitor groups and content like this.
There have always been people offering treatments that differ from mainstream medicine. The difference is that now with the power of social media, they're able to reach millions. And the question is,
so I would like for you to watch this part that you missed, though, because I think you'll see her switch tune a little bit, and also you'll see just kind of the impact that the BBC have had, and I think it's important
to watch it. Okay, let's see. Where was she? Okay, this is where we were before. And she was talking. Okay,
it's right about there.
Okay.
Suicidal. To call them a proponent of suicide is ridiculous.
Well, certainly on your Facebook page, there have been at least 2 quite young people that have taken their own lives.
I'm not aware of them. If you look at the demographic of people who are interested in my type of material, you're working with an unstable group of people already, a very large following that I have. The fact that I am now responsible for suicide in people who came to me suicidal, that's pretty insane, too, to say that towards anyone.
We'll never know if anyone who took their life did so because they were influenced by Teal's teachings. And there are people who say that she's helped them when they felt suicidal. Since our interview, Teal's recorded another video on this topic.
There's been a lot of confusion and misconception about my stance on suicide. To be crystal clear, I'm against suicide.
Later, in a statement, Teal told us that any suicide is a tragedy and we send our deepest condolences to this young woman's family. She also added that many mental health professionals support my teachings.
Who?
The charities and experts I spoke to said it can be helpful to have discussions about suicide, but they're worried about the way Teal's going about it and where her ideas are being shared.
If you're suicidal and you go onto a forum and everybody is suicidal, everybody's posting about being suicidal, then it normalizes being suicidal. And so I think social media platforms have an enormous responsibility.
In response to our investigation, Facebook took down Teal's private group. They told us that their specially trained teams do allow some content which expresses an intention towards suicide as an opportunity for someone to respond to what may be a cry for help. However, they said, we do not allow content which directly promotes or encourages suicide or self-harm. That's why we have removed the Teal Swan group. But already, Teal's fans have started a new group with similar content. While it's not administered by Teal, at least one senior person from her management team is a member. YouTube have told us that they have a clear policy that prohibits content promoting self-harm. And as a result of our reporting, they have removed the video where Teal advises people to imagine their deaths. But it is still up on at least one other person's channel and has been shared within the new Facebook group. And that just shows how difficult it is to monitor groups and content like this.
There have always been people offering treatments that differ from mainstream medicine. The difference is that now with the power of social media, they're able to reach millions. And the question is, who regulates that?
Because when it comes to this sort of content, the stakes are high.
Life is something that is precious, not something that has a reset button where if you're not happy with the way that things are today, that you can have a new tomorrow. A decision like that, which we're now living, will affect their loved ones for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's... So did you see how she changed tune in that? And she was
Later on.
like,
Yeah.
she was like, let me be clear, I'm against it.
You're confused about what I said. What I said was, it's not that, you've now decided to clarify because...
I didn't say it's a reset button. Well, I did say it's a reset button, but I'm also against it. Like,
She
at the
literally
same
had a
time.
graphic that said reset and it was on a button. Like literally. The audio and the visuals matched.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell where the power of social media should stop, or social media platforms like Facebook and stuff. But the fact that they took down the group, I think it's very good. And the fact that YouTube kind of took down that video. But the thing is, there's still loads of other videos and they're leading to her private stuff, like the platforms where that you have to pay to access and stuff. And there's a reason you have to pay, because like obviously she's tried to put them on YouTube and stuff and then they were taken down. So she will put them on those platforms where they're private and you can't take them down.
Yeah.
And like but I guess it's at least not so easily accessible for free.
Yeah, or you can come across it easily without paying. There's at least one more barrier than if you were searching like whatever she has people search for to find her. that it might be one extra step, because if it was on YouTube, you click it immediately, you can watch it. It maybe gets you into that mindset, as opposed to, oh, now I got to find my credit card. Okay, let me go search for something else. So I think that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I think it puts people off. Like you have to be like a proper like supporter to join, I would assume. Um,
Yeah.
so I think if you're just like a first timer, you're probably not that likely that you'll go and click on those things that have a paywall. So there is a bit of a barrier, but at the same time, the fact that it's also hidden or private, whatever, could mean that the people in there are, who knows what are they're being taught, and they're, you know what I mean?
Well, I think what the guy said, the expert said in that video, was like, when you're on an online community and everyone shares your views, it's very similar to any of these like alternative groups where, whether it's political or cultural, and people just, you get in an echo chamber of people saying like, yeah, or like 4chan or whatever those, kind of more not mainstream forums are. They start to get, radicalized. That's how it happens. Like, it doesn't start one day, you go, I'm going to become a member of whatever. It's slowly, you start to see other people talk about things that maybe you've thought about or you didn't think about, and now you're like, yeah. And now you're going to these groups and you're getting more of the idea that you've already, like, the seed is planted, and now it's growing because people are watering you with, like, their opinions. And I don't know what to, again, I don't know what to do about it. There's nothing, I don't think the solution is like ban anything that could be potentially dangerous, because you'd have nothing. Everything can be dangerous. But
But this is, I think, crossing the line.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think that there is a line of decency, and there's like, every platform has like terms of service and stuff like that. So yeah, but it's just very funny to me just how she's put under pressure and she's changed tune completely. She's like no longer like visualize your death and like reset button and stuff. Now she's against it. Like,
yeah,
oh,
sort of.
and it's hilarious to her how one could think that she could possibly, and also another very very telling thing. She's like, oh, big part of my audience is already suicidal. It's like, because you have used
Terms.
those keywords, and you've like keyworded all your videos in such a way so that your audience is that, so that the people who are looking for that find you. So that's not a coincidence that her audience is just so happens to be like that.
Yeah.
She's targeting that audience. That's a direct target. Like, we are targeting the people who are against these self-help gurus, or people who are on edge about them.
Yeah.
She's targeting people who are suicidal. I guess at this point that doesn't even matter, because like we're gonna get them demonetized. So
yeah, once we said it once, it's like, okay.
Yeah,
at least limited, which is fine. Like, that's okay. I rather be honest and talk about the truth of why she's a horrible leader, or whatever, revolutionary as she claims, than beat around the bush for the monetization purposes. But yeah, it's so unfortunate, because I feel like in a lot of ways, like, she's a traumatized person. She was an abused person. So now her coping mechanism is to be like the most important person on earth, which is a very extreme coping mechanism, but people are attracted to that. And I think people want to be saved. They want a savior. And when someone like this, and a lot of this rhetoric too is like, oh, this video wouldn't be in your eyes if it wasn't meant to be. Like, the universe put this video here for you
she
to
put
consume.
the keyword there.
Yeah.
I guess it's very meant to be. But people need help. People just need help when they look for these things. That's what they need. And she's not providing help. She's providing echo chambers, and potentially like those two people. And I don't know, because this was in 2019. Who knows what happened since? It's been like 3 years. I figure that she's been more careful in not having these public
Probably not public. Yeah. I think she keeps him on her private thing. I would imagine is kind of her method now. If she wants to talk about something more, private or something as serious. And if they don't have the Facebook group, the Teal Tribe was like a big way that people communicated without her there, but like people that she was attracting, that's a separate issue too. It's like, how much do you blame the leader or whatever versus the people who become like the groupies? I don't know either. It's hard to say. Like, Teal must be responsible for everyone that likes her. It's like, no, obviously not. But where does the responsibility end and start?
Yeah, or start, because she's not taking any.
None, yeah. At least in the interview. And I think you're right. She has people who work for her who had professional jobs, who like work for her for free because they love her or whatever. They love her, I don't know. They live in her compound with her, very cult-like. Like, this is like NXIVM. That's the same thing. They all live on the compound. They work for the guy for free. Like, that is a cult. You can't just say, oh, it's not a cult. It's like, not every cult ends in like mass suicide. Like, Jonestown. Like, that's what I think people think, like, oh, that's when it's a cult, when everyone commits suicide together. It's like, no, it was a cult for like 20 years before that, when people were coming and going, and that was just the horrible, tragic demise of it.
And this is the exact kind of replica of that. When you encourage groups and you don't speak against it, or at least you're not clear against it, and you're just making it sound like you're encouraging suicide, you're garnering a group of people that would be likely to drink the actual Kool-Aid,
It doesn't happen overnight. Those people don't join the cult day one and then drink Kool-Aid the next day. It's a slow growth into this is your entire life. And now all of a sudden, oh, okay, now you're like, well, I have this option, or I have to go back and make my whole life over again and make new friends and a whole new family, and like, that's more work than I have the energy for.
Yeah, and that's if you exit alive.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and it's that's the kind of sad kind of end, I guess, to the story, but
yeah,
I think it's important to talk about it.
Definitely. And there's so much more to this story too, because there's her, her methods, like the completion process is the thing that she sells, and she'll train people to become completion method practitioners, which is like, she's not going to do the completion method. She's created it, but she's going to let her cronies do it for money, and she gets a percentage of whatever, or, whatever she does. That's controversial too, because, a big part of her story is like, I keep not to include Gabby Bernstein, because Gabby Bernstein is much less controversial than Teal, but there is a lot of overlap, because I keep thinking of scenarios to bring Gabby Bernstein into this, and I'm like being careful not to make the comparison, but I think it's fair to do, because, Gabby in her podcast, she says, if you're listening to this podcast, it's not an accident. You're here because the universe has brought you here. I think that's very dangerous, especially when you're using marketing tactics to actually attract them,
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like so contradictory.
Yeah, I'll teach you how to market, but also like the universe knows everything and brings you everything that you need and whatever.
The universe marketed this.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you actually like trust the universe? Why do you have to like buy Facebook ads?
Yeah.
But the other thing that Gabby reminds me of is like, she has a story in her latest book. I didn't read it, but she teased to it that she had a repressed memory, which is a very controversial idea in psychology, whether people have repressed memories and that come out during therapy, or that they could be led down, people can be led down a road to have a memory that they actually didn't have because the therapist, or maybe they're not even with the therapist, the life coach, the whatever hypnotherapist is trying to get them to see something that might not even actually be there. So I'm not saying that's what happened in her case, but Gabby says like when she was 36, she had a repressed memory come up, and now her whole life makes sense. And I find that to be dangerous. And that's basically what the completion process deals with, is like, talk through a memory, find the memory in which you became like traumatized, and then we'll like eliminate it from your life. And there's no evidence that that's real, that helps anybody, other than like, you know, data point of one, as like, I think that was on Heather the Lawyer's podcast. They said like, data point of one, who cares? Like, if it helped one person, wonderful. But like, that's not a statistical thing to base like any sort of like merit on.
Yeah. I was listening to you. I wanted to say something, but I wanted to let you finish, and now I forgot.
Sorry.
But I guess what is interesting with Gabby is like, and not just Gabby, but there's a whole group, just like the self-help group exists, and so exists a spirituality kind of group of people, and they all push the same concepts, and they have the same tactics. And it's funny because like, I just don't, it's so upsetting that people are having to resort to these things, almost like, you know what I mean? There's just the fact that there's so many people in pain and struggling, that they have to, and with no means to actually get help, the help that they need, that they have to resort to people like Teal Swan and Gabby Bernstein and stuff.
Yeah. And they're
Because
taking
like,
advantage of it.
they are so much taking advantage by targeting them with ads, by targeting them with like using the keywords to find those things. They're literally, and them having like products like books and like private groups that you have to pay for and stuff. Like, that is the worst kind of thing, even worse than self-help if possible, because at least the self-helpers are
Yes.
like targeting people who have like mental health issues. These people are targeting people who are directly suicidal, and it's
Yeah.
like, you want to take all they have before they end their own lives. Like, that's just the worst.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in the documentary, that second episode I just watched before we started, and they talk a lot about Teal's like friend, lifelong friend, the guy from episode 1. You watched it, right?
I have not yet watched it.
Oh,
I will
you
have
didn't?
to
Okay.
admit. But that's because like, I'm in Europe. Hulu
True.
is making it literally impossible to sign up to see it. Freeform has been stuck, and then the YouTube thing that I found, like after a while, it's like a picture. It's no longer a documentary after like 10 minutes or something. So I'm gonna have like to probably ask you to give me your credentials to log in or something to see
Yeah.
if I can watch it, because I did get a VPN to be able. This is like, being in Europe sucks for these things. Like, because they're always like release last over here.
Yeah, they're like, we have laws unlike the United States and other countries. They're like, we're gonna probably pay their employee. I don't know. Actually, I don't know anything about Europe. I always think of Europe as like more not inclusive, but more worker friendly. But maybe that's a false truth. Like less
don't
hours
know.
worked and stuff than in
Oh
America,
yeah,
which-
there's
yeah,
like laws
healthcare.
on not being able to work for a certain amount. You have to take breaks at some points, and like those things are like in the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not encouraged to like work after hours. Well, depends, I guess, on the company, but just not by law.
Yeah. So I always think like, oh, they're last because they're trying to like actually pay their workers and treat them fairly, but maybe that's not even the real reason. I have to get off at 3 o'clock time, but we have about 30 minutes. Do you want to go into her childhood a little bit? We're not going to finish like her whole entire life story, but it might be interesting.
Yeah.
We can maybe do a part 2 at some point
Yes,
as the
I do.
documentary goes on.
And I'm
Okay.
gonna get a glass of water, but I'm gonna put the volume up so I can hear it.
Okay. This is her on an Idaho news channel for some reason. Well, I guess she lived in Idaho. Lived. So this is her talking about her being like in a cult herself as a child. Now, again, I haven't heard this interview, but I've heard the story through a couple other sources where she's talked about it, and one of them being the Gateway podcast, and it just seems so far-fetched to me. There might be, again, like some truth to it, but her therapist, like actually licensed therapist, was like one of the big proponents of like the satanic panic. Like they were saying like, oh, there's satanic rituals everywhere. Everyone needs to be prepared. And it turned out to be kind of bullshit. Not even kind of, like totally bullshit. And there's a really good documentary called Paradise Lost. It's a 3-series documentary that everyone should watch because it's really, really good. But it talks about sort of that issue back in like the 80s, 90s. Anyway, so she's going to talk about that. And I think that she's been, you know, maybe possibly manipulated by her therapist or spiritual teacher from back then. Okay, without further ado.
I just decided to basically be the poster child for ritual abuse. I was like, if nobody else wants to talk about this stuff, I'll talk about it. Fine, I'm going to tell you this stuff exists. If you don't want to believe that it exists, then you're part of the problem.
It's a secret world full of abuse that many refuse to believe exists. Tonight, one Idaho woman is sharing her story to raise awareness.
Just last week, North Carolina police arrested 2 people linked to 2 deaths and satanic rituals. Tonight, one woman shares her story of what she says happened right here in Idaho.
Dawn, her story is graphic, and it's hard to hear. On your side's Chris Oswald spent 3 hours with her. He's live in studio with her exclusive story.
Michelle and Dawn, the topic of satanic rituals has long been taboo. Few speak of the underground world. Criminal cases are rare. It's why a young woman is speaking.
Okay, and this is a comment on their reporting. Few people speak of the world, the underground world. Source, please. Where's their proof that this exists? They're part of the problem here. And Idaho is a small market. Like the whole state is a small market, basically meaning that the funding, the money, like the talent is young, they're inexperienced, or they're older, but they don't make much money, which means that like they might have a reason to stay there that is not just because they cannot move up. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm just saying this is not like, you know, Good Morning America or something where they have like money to spend on investigations and stuff. This is like much smaller level TV markets. This guy probably makes, I don't know, $25,000 a year. And not to say that that like affects his reporting, but it could, because you got a second job most likely. Anyways, that's a comment on local TV news.
And I also want to make a comment and say thank you guys for sharing the resources and the phone numbers. This is really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. I love the chat. The chat is always really good. It's love. Okay. Back to Chris Oswald.
Out about what she calls years of abuse right here in the gym state. Now, I do want to warn you, much of what you're about to hear is extremely graphic, and some of you might find it offensive. It seems like a movie.
I won't forgive myself unless I say something.
A nightmare.
My place that I could sleep was in the bathtub.
A living hell.
When you side with a victim and you believe a story that somebody has said like me, it puts people in a moral dilemma. I'm essentially asking people to rewrite their entire version of reality.
For 13 years, reality for Teal Swan was that of a satanic cult. The young girl who grew up near Preston, Idaho, was taken in by a family friend at age 6.
Because I got a front row seat to more than a few of these people. And the reality is that they come from extremely traumatic situations, and that's what turns them off emotionally and makes them not only want to, but capable of doing the things that they keep doing.
Life, according to Swan, consisted of abuse, both physically and sexually, and murder. The stories she shares are simply hard to hear.
So he'd be driving and suddenly he'd be like 20, 19, 18. He'd like pull over to the side of the road, and that was my cue that I was supposed to get out of the car and then run, basically. And I was supposed to evade him. And so it was like for a timed period of like 2 or 3 hours, I would be trying to run away from him while he tracked me. And if he caught me, I would get punished. Like my rib cage is covered in these scars because he would count coup. Back then, I got really proud of myself when I would get away from him, instead of realizing that I was being chased through the woods by somebody who killed children.
How many children did you watch him kill?
I can remember, well, him specifically, not the group 5.
So you physically watched him kill 5?
Yeah.
How many did you witness?
Probably 7 over the course of my life, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so she watched 7 children get murdered. Why is she not, like, reporting this to the police?
Well, I'm assuming if she was in a cult, like, it was probably impossible to leave.
She can't go now. She's out now. She's free. Why don't she go to the police and say, this is the girl's name? Like, this is so ridiculous. I just don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't.
So, she's like, so this is not stuff that is already out in the open, that has already been reported, what she's talking about.
No. This is
That's what I assumed,
her.
that this is, since it was
No.
like in her childhood, that it would have been reported by now.
No, as far as I know, this is like, she's telling the world now the truth. It's like, this is so irresponsible of this. First of all, and I saw someone comment about it, and I totally agree. This reporting is horrendous. The music of like, oh, this is a horror show. This is like someone's actual testimony. Wow, I don't think it's true, but she believes it apparently. So like inappropriate. The photos of like her as a child and then making them like all sinister and dark, irresponsible and unethical. Like there's so many things wrong with this. And also like he's just taking her story as if like, oh, this is fact. Like I want to see like, where's the reports? Where are those children's families? Like, we're just supposed to just accept this blindly. And like someone says like, yeah, she's got all these, scars allegedly, but doesn't show it, just like, oh, just take my word for it. I have all these scars from when I was chased by this man.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no like screenshots on or whatever, like news pieces, articles clipped or something on the screen showing that what she's saying was reported or anything.
And why did she survive? Why did he let her live but killed 7 others? It gets worse. I don't know about this, if she's going to talk about it in this one, but there's a whole story where she gets sewn into a corpse.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's what she said, that she had to like, there was a dead body and they sewed her into the body, and that, I don't know.
Okay, I
And
need
she
to
just
hear-
got out.
Oh my god. Oh my
I don't know if she
God.
talks about it. But yeah, someone said, is this a sweeps piece? Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, which is so stupid. Ugh. Okay.
Teal thought of escaping, telling someone, anything to get out, but fear would stop her.
One of the first programs that was done on me like that, he had me breathing and then go through an elaborate visualization where he was walking me through my home, having just told, okay, you just told people about me and you just told people who you really are. So what do you see hanging from the rafters? I shrugged my shoulders. He goes, do you see that that's your mother? Do you see that her blood is all over the floor?
Teal knows many won't believe her. What she says is hard to confirm, but what she shares is also the focus of dozens of investigations around the country. Lieutenant Larry Jones, a former Boise police officer, was instrumental in a Department of Justice report on cult rituals. The report admits crimes like these are hard to prove, but says it is imperative that the cases be solved. In Teal's case, which
Any murder is hard to solve. Any mysterious murder. And like, again, like, just because someone says, oh yeah, there's Satanists out there, does not mean that it's true.
Well, I'm sure that they exist, but what kind of like news article is this where they're like, there's no proof of this?
We're going to run it anyways for 5
But
minutes plus. Yeah.
I loved. There's a comment from Shakira a bit higher up. She says, "I'll take things that didn't happen for 500." This is exactly what this feels like.
Yeah.
This is like she took a bundle of things, like a bonus. You were trapped in a corpse. Okay.
Like, it's irresponsible because this gives her validity, because people think and assume that the news has done their research or that the news has confirmed this somewhere. They're just not saying it. No, he's just being irresponsible, and whoever the fuck is the news director is like, yeah, run it. She's hot. Let's put her on.
Channel?
Yeah, it's a Idaho. I don't know if it's Boise or somewhere smaller, but it's a local affiliate, ABC News. from
Oh my
2013.
God.
So I mean, it's a while, but it's not like from the 50s. This is like this is ridiculous. I was already working in news when this came out. It's horrible.
This is like, this is so sad. Like, oh, if you could make me, I'm already very pissed off with journalism because of the whole thing with Johnny Depp and Camille Vasquez. Like, I'm so pissed off. But now just ruin it even further and just make journalism like completely illegitimate right now. Like, I'm just so annoyed.
There's so much we can say about it. I'm gonna eventually make my channel into an anti-media, like, not propaganda, but anti-media channel. And not because I hate media. I love media. I worked in media. I think it's so important. But the way that it's set up right now, it's
Yeah.
making me not like it because stuff like this. It's just for clicks or views or whatever, like crazy stuff they can put on. It's like, what is this?
It's just it's becoming increasingly more important to have like legitimate sources of news because with the BBC, for example, this is I find I really appreciate the BBC. While it has its own problems, so it's not perfect by any means, but I do appreciate it because I've seen its impact in real life where some of my colleagues, if I could call them that, because we didn't necessarily work in the office together, but I collaborated with them on a lot of things. From the BBC, The Social made they made a video about a pickup artist at one point, and then a journalist who was actually my producer at one point at BBC The Social on several things, he went on and made this into a bigger piece about multiple pickup artists around Britain. And eventually the one, I think the initial one that started this whole thing ended up being arrested, and it was thanks to the reporting by BBC because they did accurate reporting, legitimate reporting that had, they didn't just like throw things around. They said something and they backed it up with whatever they found as evidence. And eventually, like a couple years later, the police were like caught up to it essentially. So of course that the police would have done their own investigation, but like it just shows that the reporting was legitimate and it was like well done. And this is one channel that is, again, not perfect, but it's a channel that is not run by sponsors and advertisers. It's a channel that is running with like funds from the government, and you are not allowed to have any sort of like promotional content. Like if I had like a video where I had like a can of Coke or something in it, like I would not be able to post that. I would have to take the can of Coke out or like blur it out or something, just so that there is in no way like yeah. And I appreciate that more and more just as I'm seeing how many things are, because like this, for example, the reason I'm thinking this right now is because this news piece, it's not a news piece, but it's presented as one, but it's actually like a Teal Swan ad, and
basically.
there's no knowing if Teal Swan had some sort of deal with them behind the scenes, being like, oh, you do this for me and I'll do, I don't know.
I mean, I doubt that. I doubt that part because like, what is Idaho going to do for her? I think she just said, I have the craziest story. I have like, a wonderful tale to tell. And for some weird reason, this guy's like, yeah, let's do it. I don't know.
Because they wanted the wow factor and like go viral or something, or have, because on TV, just like you do on YouTube, there's like softwares that count views and stuff, and you can tell, and then based on that if this is an actual like report, the producers would be like, oh, we like this guy because he gets in the big views or something, and he would put him on multiple projects or better projects or like whatever. So there is that aspect of it, and I've seen this happen on local Scottish TV.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this too, about the photos. It's like that No Name said, like, why are so many photos? Like, yeah, they just gave her like a group of professional looking headshots. Like, hey, now that you've witnessed the murders, here's your album of photos that we took of you with your horse and in a Nike shirt. Just take this home and don't tell anybody what you saw, okay? Like, something's missing. And the documentary painted this differently too. They said that she was like more of a teenager, and then she went and some man came to their house and then she was interacting with him. Not that like this story is like, oh, she was taken away somewhere. The documentary paints it differently. So who's telling the truth? Probably not, none of them. I think,
Yeah.
and honestly, like watching the interview makes me feel like she's mentally ill and she believes these delusions. And then unfortunately for her, this reporter is putting this on TV as if it's real. And it's like, this is the ramblings of someone who's not in touch with reality.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's funny, but I'm just this. It's kind of like you said, like I'm watching this and I'm thinking, whatever the truth is, whatever the reality is, this person has serious mental health issues. If she made up an entire life story that she was through these, like going through these insane, like false, culty things, and that she had to like defend, she was being chased in the forest, and if she made that up, that's insanity. If she got out of that, if that's true, she got out of it and then she started a cult, that's insanity. Like
Go to the
it would be like
police.
it would be like us like watching self-help and debunking self-help, and then tomorrow we start a self-help something
Seminar.
and
Yeah.
we would just be like completely, that's like the perfect progression for me, like, it's just so contradictory. If you got out of a cult, for you to start doing this and target people who are like in such bad situations, it's contradictory to what you would have survived. So it would not make any sense. You would have to have some sort of delusion in order to be able to go through it. So whatever the reality really is, this person is not okay.
Yeah. When you watch the documentary, whenever you get access to it, and I'll send you my stuff, we'll have this conversation again, because it's like the stories don't add up. And I even see this thing. There was something about her being a model at one point. I remember that too. That's what did she say? Yeah, Kelsey said that she was a model. That's what they said in the documentary. She was like a model at some point. So like, when did that happen? Before like the cult? After the cult? She was a model as a teenager. So I don't know. Okay, let's.
And
let's
Andrea
continue.
saying that the Wikipedia says she lived in Utah with her parents and brother until teenage years. That's
and
just
then the podcast says that she lived in China for a while. So it's like, what the hell? Like, what is the truth?
Yeah.
She is the truth. Okay.
She is definitely not the truth.
She is truth. We truth. Okay.
We truth.
She says was turned over to police. No charges have ever been filed.
She says.
I think
okay. The fuck does she
that
know?
we're in a time where we have to open up to these a lot darker aspects of the human psyche. We have to admit that these things go on, and we have to provide ways for both sides of the equation to heal.
In most documented cases of ritual abuse, it's often close friends or family who commit the crime. Teal says the issue is bigger than anyone can ever imagine.
I think with every single case that we see coming out with this, people are more forced to accept the reality that this stuff occurs instead of just discrediting every single one of us, which has been the status quo for so long. It's really easy to write us off and say we're mentally ill. Most of us who go through these scenarios, we think that, it's happening because we deserve it, or it's happening because we're evil, or some stupid thing like that. Sorry, I'm like...
You're okay.
Oh my god, that was a fake tear that she wiped. That was a very...
I know what many of you just heard.
What's her name? There was a YouTuber who had that infamous apology video where she was wiping like no tears. What's her name?
Yeah,
you guys know who I'm talking about. Like, she was like a makeup influencer. Laura Lee. Laura Lee. Yeah, this is a very Laura Lee. This is maybe where Laura Lee got inspired.
Yeah, watching Teal Swan, Idaho videos. Yeah, probably. That tracks. Okay, he's going to do his conclusion, and there's a part 2.
Hard for you to believe. And I can tell you that I sat across from Teal for 3 hours, and I myself had a very hard time believing it. I did reach out to several mental health providers.
This is on the news then, idiot. What are you talking about, Chris?
Why don't you question it, my dude, if you have a hard time believing it?
She had a white dress on, so, we just ran with it. It's like, okay. It's like, what the fuck?
She was hot. So I figured if I put this on, maybe I can go on a date with her.
Yeah,
And,
I'm trying
you
to
know,
move up
who
to
knows?
Sacramento market, so I just went with it anyways because I had nothing else to talk about.
Because I will tell
Okay,
you,
sorry.
people do a lot of things for hot people, like a lot,
So
especially
true.
men.
Oh yeah.
Teal's behavior was consistent with the abuse that she described. None of them would go on camera to talk about it. Coming up in about 10 minutes, I'm going to ask Teal some tough questions about her claims, and you'll hear what she has to say. Live in the studio, Chris Oswald.
So we're going to present this as a one-sided piece, and then after the break, after you watch the commercials, then we'll do our actual fucking job and question it. But
The
stick
commercials
around.
would be like Teal Swan's paid
Teal
paid
Swan's
group.
premium course.
Yeah. This is sponsored by Teal Swan
Sponsored by
Suicide Group.
Teal. Here's part
Yeah.
2. Sorry.
The
Of
hard
course, they're not going to
questions
put
never
that part
came.
on the line. They're like, oh no, we can't.
The hard
can't show
questions would be
that.
like the skinny confidential. This is not a safe space questions.
This is not a safe space, except if you're a lying, crazy person. Then you're safe.
Yeah.
Then you can say whatever
Then
you want.
don't
We'll give
worry,
the platform.
we will not question you.
God. Okay. All right. This is part 2.
Hundreds of satanic ritual abuse cases are reported to police every year.
At the beginning
They're reported to police from other crazy people. Okay.
of our newscast, we introduced you to Teal Swan, a young girl who grew up in Idaho and says she escaped
She
the
didn't,
abuse.
apparently.
On
She didn't even grow up there. Okay.
your site's Chris Oswald is back now with the rest of her story.
Donna Michelle Teal Swan says she endured 13 years of abuse in the wilderness of Idaho. It wasn't until a ritual deep in the woods that she said she knew she had to run.
Unless you trip across something like that, you're not going to know this stuff exists.
Teal Swan knows her story is hard to believe. Do you ever doubt that maybe
No kidding.
this is just some sort of nightmare that you had and you've just relived it, or do you ever doubt that this happened?
Well, the same laugh that she has when people kill themselves in her group.
Yeah, look at that. But she was
hasn't
just
been
crying
happier.
a second ago.
She's so happy. Oh.
To you?
No.
Never.
No.
At age 19, during what Teal calls a ritual in eastern Idaho, she decided it was time to run. She left Idaho and headed back south to Utah to a friend she knew she could trust.
One day became 2 days, 2 days became 3 days, 3 days became 4 days, and then it was like,
4 days
after a
became
while,
5
I really
days.
had this
5
that
days
full urge of like, I don't want to go back, and so it started turning into fear of going back, and then I just hid basically with him.
Yeah, okay. So this guy, the friend that she's talking about is a big part of the documentary because basically he's lived with Teal. This is when she was a teenager. This guy, her first boyfriend, or the guy that she escaped to, lives with her today. And she's been married several times. They dated in the beginning of their meeting, and then they just became friends. But he's lived with her his whole life, essentially. And he wants to have a wife, and she is like pissed off that like this, her savior guy friend wants to have someone other than her. So that's what you're going to look forward to in the documentary.
And I liked that comment earlier. I don't know if we'll find it, but being like the pictures of exotic animals don't help to sustain the idea of like being chased through the forest or something.
Here's my horse and parakeet. And I love how it's like, oh, I escaped. How? I drove on a road. It's like, okay, how?
It's like, I'm asking the tough questions. What do you eat for breakfast?
Are you delusional? Do you ever think that this is all one delusion? No. Well, I accept
Does
that.
this sound
Thank you.
real to you, Teal? Do you think what you're saying is accurate?
Yes. No, I've never considered that I'm crazy. Oh, okay, good. Maybe you should consider that before you commit to an idea.
Yeah.
Okay. God.
From there, things started to turn around, but sharing her stories was still hard.
It's because you've been traumatized and you have no option. I mean, it's too difficult to talk to somebody who's been in a space of freedom. You can't really explain to them what it's like to mentally be in the situation where you would do anything you were told to do because you don't have another option.
Over time, Teal overcame that problem. She's now dedicated her life to sharing her experience and hopefully helping others who may be going through the same thing.
One of the major purposes is for me to be like an example for people who, especially women, who are going through these types of really painful things to know that, you know what, this old paradigm of the fact that you're just damaged goods for the rest of your life is not true.
Today, Teal no longer lives in Idaho and refuses to step foot in the state. She spends much of her time.
Where do they meet? Where is this recorded?
Wow.
Is this her
That
sister
is
station?
newsworthy. She refuses to step foot in Idaho. Okay.
Talking and providing assistance to those who claim to have been a part of a cult. Her next event is November 16th. She has a website and a blog where she shares her experiences. We'll have a link to that on our website in just a few moments, IdahoOnYourSide.com.
Affiliate
Live in the studio, Chris
called
Oswald.
it. Did I call it?
Promised
This is
me.
an
He
affiliate link.
promised. He promised me that he was going to ask the tough questions. What did he ask?
No, that was the question. He asked behind the camera, what did she have for breakfast? Like, and she was like, raw fruit.
Raw vegan diet with cacao. And he's like, oh, great.
Fruit that was raw with
I
cacao.
didn't drink fluoride, though, for sure. No fluoride. Okay, this is now
Raw
the sit-down
coffee.
interview. Part 3. We're almost there to find the true secrets.
He look at him. Like, he probably really fell for, like, I don't know. He
This is just
probably
journalism.
was
Go
like,
to college. Like
"He's so
journalism 101. Like is like get the other side of the story. Get two sides. There's always more than one. There's more than two sides to every story. But like, call the police and say, "Hey, this is a story." And she's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, she's an advocate for women." Okay, if you're really helping people, why won't you like get these people off the street who are murdering children like in the state that you won't step foot in? It doesn't make sense. None of this makes
But
sense.
you can't at the end be like, her next event is here. Here's a link. We don't get a few cents from this.
God.
Affiliate links, like the OG affiliates.
What event?
of
What event?
Teal
What's
Swan.
possibly is she going to talk about? Her experience again? Like she just told it. What event? Like, oh God. Okay. 2 minutes long. And I have to go soon, so I'm so sorry.
This is so sad, by the way. Look at them.
I know. This is a sad couch. This couch is uncomfortable.
Fox 9, we brought you the story of Teal Swan, an Idaho woman who says she was the victim of satanic ritual abuse.
And we wanted to bring Chris Oswald back in to talk a little more about this issue. And Chris, I mean, just listening to the story was hard enough, but for you sitting across from Teal Swan, it must have been hard to believe sometimes. And I know she is coming out to fight that.
Yeah, it was 3 hours of sitting across from her, listening to her story, and one of the things that I asked her was, as you heard in the story earlier, do you believe this is true? Because I had a hard time believing that this was true. She talked about things like watching murders of children, her mom hanging from the rafters of a visualization through conditioning, things that were just so graphic that I'm like, this can't be real. So I asked her and she said yes, and it's really hard to believe some of the things she said. You don't want to believe it. It's unimaginable.
Let me ask you about one part in the piece when she talked about seeing the murders of these children. Why is there no police documentation, or is there any police documentation to back that up? Has she gone to police and talked about this?
Yeah, so Teal filed a police report in 2005 in Utah, where she escaped to after her abuse that she claims happened here in Idaho.
Alleged.
That police investigation never went any further than her filing the report because it was all circumstantial evidence, which is a lot of what people experience. They go to police and then there's no evidence. Teal said,
This guy needs to be off the air.
He's
Or
like-
hopefully he fixed
he's like-
he got some training. Oh my God, this guy.
He's like, this was filed in 2005, and we posted this like 2 months later.
You know, Chris, you can request that police report, you dumbass. Like, you could read it and see what she said in it and what the police said. Or you can contact the police and ask them, hey, why didn't you do any more with this? But no, that would require like more than 3 hours of an interview.
But I sat across from her, and it couldn't possibly be false what she said.
I had a hard time believing it, but then I asked her, is it true? And she said yes, because lying is banned in Idaho, apparently.
Yeah. So
this
I
guy
was
drove to
there.
Utah? This guy drove to Utah for this interview.
Maybe he can drive, but he definitely cannot investigate. That's for sure.
Oh my God. the effort that this went into this is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. But imagine how hot that he had her number and like he called her and be like, "I'm here," and she was like, "Oh, Chris, thank you so much. Let me tell
I've
you my
escaped
story."
to be in your arms.
But like she does
I'm
use her
mad.
sexuality a lot. I feel like I don't know. It's just my impression, but I feel like she's using it a lot.
Totally. And that's part of the second episode of the documentary, the docu-series, because this one guy comes to her house basically because she has like a compound essentially, and people come to get healed. And she's like, why are you here? And he's like, well, I think maybe I just had a sexual fantasy that went a little too far. She was all pissed about it, which I, understand, but like, how can you not know that that's going to be part of this? Like, at least he was honest. Like, hey, she's like, well, the universe wouldn't put you here if you weren't meant to be. He's like, well, yeah, I think it's a sexual thing that just went a little too far. She's like,
yeah, totally, totally. Tell me more about this universe of yours. Like,
yeah. I know.
I bet like that's what happened. Literally, I bet he was like, "Oh, so would you like to like after 3 hours, like after she flirts with him for 3 hours, and he's like, you want to grab a drink?" And she's like, "Oh no, thank you."
I only drink blood. Sorry. That's from I learned my cult days when I was really there. I'm not even mad at her as much as I'm
you're
mad at
like
him.
20 grand a year. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Takes a lot more money to run a cult. Sorry, babes.
Sorry, babes. I need to be a millionaire. Because she does talk about that in the documentary too. She goes, I just need to marry a millionaire so I can be safe. Like, okay, bitch. I'm sorry. I'm like off the rails today because
I also want to marry a millionaire to be safe. So if any of you are millionaires, just like hit me up. Let's hook up.
I don't want to get married. I just want the cash. You can share some with me.
I don't care about the marriage license thing.
Okay, good. Just the
Wait, did you just say you don't want to get married because you literally are engaged?
No, I know. I mean, I'm for the money. I don't want to get married to a millionaire. Just give me the money. I don't want the commitment of having to deal with that, the stress of having so much money. Okay, let's finish this last minute just to hear what else amazing could possibly come out of this, and then we'll do the pyramid. Because everyone says, and I totally agree, Teal needs to be at the top. Natasha is bad, but she ain't this bad. What do you think?
Oh, it's not even a question. Like, wow, yeah, she's like above the pyramid. She's somewhere like hovering
she's
above.
Ascended past the pyramid of.
She's on the third eye of the pyramid.
Oh God.
Says that a lot of it is that
chakra.
people, they are afraid to tell their stories. Police can't find the evidence. Things happen so quickly. They move from area to area to area so that way they don't get caught. And it happens in rural areas that are wooded like
This
Idaho and
fucking guy.
Utah.
Did she say that they also would target oftentimes people from immigrants who maybe were afraid to go to the authorities?
That's exactly what it is. So you don't hear a lot of missing persons reports of people that are going through this. And Teal says that's because they do target the immigrants who come in, because you have two options when this happens. You can report your child missing, and then you're a known illegal in the country. You then risk deportation, or you can search for your child yourself and likely never find them.
What?
And that
I think most people would still go to the police.
What is he talking about?
This is why we're fucked. Like, we are literally so screwed. I'm sorry, I'm cursing so much today. We are so screwed because this is what people in the country, this is what the news people in this country are putting on the news as if this is helpful information for Americans to like have to go about their day. That like, oh, they're these illegal immigrants whose children are going missing and murdered by satanic cults in small rural areas. What are you saying?
Yeah, but Idaho will never sponsor us. We've just grabbed on them.
Yeah.
Big time.
We'll never get our
do
potato
sponsor us.
buns.
It's totally fine.
That's fine. Oh, it's embarrassing. Ugh. Okay, almost.
That's what a lot of the children are. She said in our interview that all of the children that she watched be murdered, in her words, were of a different ethnicity, most of them from
Right.
Mexico.
Right.
My goodness. If you don't know what we're talking about, you haven't seen the stories, if you missed the top of our Fox 9 newscast, we have put Chris's stories online for you at IdahoOnYourSide.com. It'll be interesting to see, if anybody else comes forward, anyone gathers in this, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and we've already had some people on our Facebook page comment that they believe Teal and that they've witnessed this sort of evil. So if you have comments, we want to hear them.
Important.
Right.
Let's move to something earlier
Our
on Fox 9.
random Facebook followers who have as much credibility as Teal Swan does have said their piece in our Facebook post. So, we feel good about our
People around
reporting.
the office, some people around the office just said that they believe her. And, me too, because I want to go out with her. So it's all good.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Totally makes it legit. Totally.
Like, I know. Like, I asked this garbage can what its opinion was, and it said nothing. So, I don't think there's anyone that's against her story. No one that I've spoke to, inanimate or animate, has any objections to what she said. So I think we're in the clear here.
By the way, you guys, I tried to use Teal's third eye manifesting a wine thing, and I manifested a gin. So I don't know if it works. But Gordon's pink tonic. So it's
Delicious.
not quite the wine that I had in mind.
That's close enough. Okay, we're going to move everyone down. Actually, they can be on the same level. They're all about the same. Jenna Kutcher, yeah, she can stay up there. Okay. Ta-da. I don't know why this is on. No one look at that. Don't look at my real name. I don't know why it's doing. I have no idea why it's doing that. Apparently. Oh, I don't know. Okay, well. There we go, everybody. Ta-da.
That was the stream.
She's the queen at the top.
She's Queen Pyramid. Yeah. I can't believe Megan is so down.
I know. I think Megan would believe Teal as well.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
Like, you were
Megan
in a
would give
cult? Me too.
Megan would give Teal some blood to drink.
Yeah, oh, girly. We do it for ritual purposes. Not a big deal. We're not drinking goblets.
Raw cocoa. Yeah, add some blood to that raw cocoa and you just...
It's called raw cacao for a reason.
Your chakras will be everywhere.
Yeah. You'll be a full rainbow of chakras. I'm tempted to honestly, and I know this is gonna sound weird, but call the station and just or send a report or email or something this is totally detrimental to journalism, and I'm embarrassed that this aired anywhere in the country.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed that I worked in journalism. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
I didn't mean to.
I feel so stupid for defending journalism, not journalism as a whole, but local news. I'm local news is so amazing and so great and so important. And I look at that, I'm you know what? I don't know anymore. I don't know what to do about it. Now, I don't think the media is evil. I think the media is just dumb. They're just not doing their job.
Yeah. At least those guys were not doing their job. That's for sure.
Yeah, at least there's other ones that are good, but that is not okay. There's so many people involved too, because there's producers, there's news directors, there's people who approve these types of things, and yet it's still on their YouTube as if they stand by it as well. So,
I mean, it probably brings in the views. So
apparently, yeah. Someone said we should move Tony up. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Tony
is
Natasha?
definitely...
Okay.
I almost think Natasha should be lower. But she's cringe AF.
The thing that I don't like about Natasha is that she's lied about being homeless and having a chronic illness. So that's why...
But Teal has lied about...
Well, that's why she's in this whole pyramid. That's true. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I think the gin has started to work.
You're starting to get your visions coming through?
It's manifested.
This third row is busy. We need to start distributing people.
Yeah, Tony needs to go up for sure. He's not well right
up
there.
one? Oh wait. Oh,
One.
it didn't. Hold on. It didn't register. Stand by. I updated it on my end. Hold on. How the heck? What the heck? Okay, now it's good. I'm like, why did it move? Okay, there. All is right in the down line now.
Yes, that's better.
I think Lisa could probably go down too. I think Tom could be in her place. I don't think Lisa's as bad as Tom is.
Yeah. Yeah, Lisa can go down.
Lisa can go with Brene. Brene only wears brown.
Yeah.
Brene, all I
And
wear is
Lisa
brown.
only wears pink in her hair.
Oh, okay.
And messages of encouragement for your poor life.
Yes. That feels right.
Yeah,
Let's see.
of course. That
Tony
looks
up,
good,
Dave
right?
down. You think Dave should go down? We forgiving Dave? I don't know. I think Jenna and Dave are on the same. Maybe Jenna and Dave should go down. But then Jenna
Maybe
did that whole
Rachel
scandal.
should go up.
Yeah, no.
Maybe we can leave them there and Rachel can go up.
Okay, yeah, I think Rachel's going on tour, so she deserves
Yeah.
to move on up
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
for different reasons. Her
Mhm.
fat phobia, it's pretty bad.
It is.
So, okay. Now it's looking more
Yeah.
balanced. Now we need one on the 4th level.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We've covered quite a few, huh?
Yeah, we didn't even put Marie Forleo on here because we didn't have the downline when we started, so we could add her maybe next week.
Yeah. We're adding Marie Forleo.
She could be with Rhonda, or she could be on the bottom level, I think. She's pretty
Could be
non-controversial.
on the bottom for sure, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think she's that bad, but she does have she pushes some pyramid-like author stuff.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right, well, good episode. That was fun. I mean, it was horrifying and horrible, but it was also, fun in its own way.
Yes, apologies for my delay.
It's okay.
Just confused AF. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You were like 5 minutes behind, so not a big deal. I barely even, I don't think I even started doing anything. So you came
That's
right on
good.
time.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I like to feel that I'm needed.
You are.
Don't you guys look into what that might mean about my personality? It's not
I
important.
like to feel like I'm a part of this. You are a part of this. You're 50% of the show. We couldn't do it without you. And by we, I mean me and you. Couldn't do it without you.
I mean, you could totally do it without me.
No.
But I appreciate the lie.
Oh my gosh. You're crazy.
This is so weird doing it like it's like so much daylight right now because normally
Oh yeah,
when
usually
I'm
it's midnight.
Yeah, because I'm in Romania, so it's like further. It's like higher up a little bit. No, no, I'm higher up here. Wait, this is what I'm talking about. Like I'm so confused. I'm not sure
I
which
have
one.
no idea.
So, anyways, in Romania, it would have been like midnight that we would have ended. No daylight, none.
So what time is it there? It's earlier.
It's 8 right now.
8 p.m. Okay. Here it's 3:30. So usually you're 4 hours ahead now than you are in Romania. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but I will be leaving, so don't worry. This is a one-time deal.
Okay. Well, good luck with all the stuff that you have to do there.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I find the Becoming a Monk or something book by Jay Shetty.
Oh yes, Shay Jetty.
Shay Jetty. Shay.
We should cover him soon.
Oh, yeah. If I find the book, we'll do it like right after my final exam. And then we can.
Okay.
Because I've been wanting to talk about him for so long.
Yeah, same. He's been getting away with too much.
He's so cringe. He's
Yeah.
so cringe.
I was a monk for 1 second, so therefore I have all the keys to life. Shay
Yeah.
Jetty.
This is my monk teachings. And this is my girlfriend with whom I have a lot of
Wife.
sex. Like any monk would do.
Like any good monk.
Like any good monk, it's important to date.
He's another one. He's a Rachel Hollis plagiarizer. He's in the same camp as her. Plagiarize, just take people's quotes and put his own name on it. How original.
Did he like plagiarize Rachel, or did he plagiarize someone that Rachel plagiarized as well?
Probably the latter. He just plagiarized a lot of stuff. Like E equals MC squared. Shay Jetty.
Yeah. Oh man. Emily, to answer your question, Think Like a Monk, I think is called.
Yes. I think you're right. Think like a monk.
I have it.
Think
It's
like a
blue.
monk, act like a punk.
Yeah.
Shay Jetty.
Shay Jetty. Think like a monk, fuck like like a rock star.
Shay Jetties. Life lessons. Oh man, we got to make a premium account like Teal so we can just have these conversations and not worry about it.
We need to, because we're getting demonetized at every video.
I know. Oh well. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I have a call in like 2 minutes, so I got to get off and get ready for it. That's okay.
Let's let you prepare for it. But
Thank you. We'll be back next Thursday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Wherever Camellia is in the world, it won't change. It's 12 Standard Time, EST.
And she will
Unless we
make
change
it plus minus half an hour.
Yeah. It's really okay. It worked out perfectly.
Okay.
All right, everybody.